Hey everyone, we're just letting people get in. I know Candace is going at the same time, so if
Oh,
you're
great.
if you're
Yeah.
watching
Good
this,
choice by us on that one, huh?
yeah, if you're watching this
I
after
didn't.
Candace,
Yeah,
which
like
many will be, then thanks for coming.
that. Never even.
Yeah.
It never even dawned on me. Like I.
That's all right. We didn't plan that out well. That's okay.
Yeah,
It'll be fun one.
all good, dude. I want to. Like, I didn't see her episode yesterday, but I just saw like a couple clips from it. But I don't know what the takeaways are or whatnot.
Hey, as you guys are coming in, make sure you hit that like and push this out. And also, there's a poll. If you can take that poll, that would be great. And if you're on the other channels, you might not see the poll.
What's the poll? I'll put it up on mine.
Do you believe that America is in a quiet war?
Civil war, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I would certainly say so.
Actually, very interesting topic to talk about with everything going on.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been like I had not to give myself a hand job about my own content, but I had a segment in the late part of the video I just put up where I just was like reading these updates, and it's like no matter which side, it's like when the conservatives say certain things, I'm like, oh my God, boring. It's like, oh my God, the guy was here to slaughter the feds. Like,
yep.
Oh my God, I'm bored. And then on the other side, they're like, this guy was alternating between, volunteering at homeless shelters and giving blood to children who were injured. It's like, just God, I can't, dude. I can't, dude.
Yeah, I think the Civil War topic's interesting because, and we'll probably get into it, but I don't think people really understand like what a modern Civil War actually looks like or how it begins. And we have this idea that it's like the 1800s and the South versus the North, or the left versus the right, and like everybody lines up on one side and pulls their guns out and starts fighting. And it's like, nah, dude, that's not how civil wars work at all. So it'd be a good topic to talk about.
Yeah, you know what's interesting to think about too is like the story that I put out yesterday where I put together those the reports from 2006 and then 11 and all that all had to do with the Smartmatic, like the company that was built out of Venezuela and then spread in and does a lot of the voting machines, and without making any statements of fact, like the guy the conclusion he makes is that our elections have been dictated software by through the software by China, Iran, and Venezuela for the last 20 years. And I was just thinking about that afterwards, and I'm like, if that's true, like if that ended up being verified and that's true, that's one of the most brilliant warfare strategic plays of all of human history, because what's the best case scenario for you if you're in a war is that your opponent literally doesn't even know that you're fighting it. And that's in a Chinese document about the about modern warfare, is about when you're at war now, you want the enemy company or country to not even know,
I would say I would push back on that. If we're saying that China, Russia, and Iran control the voting systems, why would they put Trump in twice?
Oh, no. I'm not saying that they
Trump
do.
is not a good president. If you're Iran, you don't want fucking Donald Trump in there.
That's
why? Because he is the biggest pro-Israel president in the last 200 years. So why the fuck would you, if you're Iran, want the guy who's the biggest sim for Israel in there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a whole, again, it's not my talk track. So I won't I don't want to derail the conversation with that. I honestly, the only point I was mostly making was just how, if people think that we're not in a civil war because people are not shooting each other in the face, you're incorrect, and start thinking about it like in those terms. It's like, if you have two different movies and people are looking at the same thing and drawing diametrically opposing takeaways, and it's like Yuri Bezmenov called it exactly, like just to the letter. Like Black Scout had I don't know if you watched his video yesterday. It was really excellent. About
probably I watch most of his stuff.
He's been killing it lately. Black Scout's been killing it like last 5 or 6 videos.
Great takes, man.
But yeah, Jesse, to your point, destabilizing a country is part of civil war in a lot of ways. We do that all the time in foreign countries, right? So that definitely is a topic of discussion of what we're seeing in America, for sure. Like there's definitely high level as psyop war is another way to look at it. But there's definitely high level involvement, probably from foreign countries, that are pushing a lot of the divisiveness that we're seeing right now. And it's definitely getting worse. It's not getting better.
Let me ask you this, dude. I don't know how specific you can get, but let's just say in the most broad terms possible that I could ask this. It's like, I know that the stages, as I've learned them at least, were, have to do with it's like demoralization, destabilization, and then some kind of inciting event where kind of relaunch the system. Like, how do you know when the correct time to like fully destabilize to move from one of those stages to the other? I don't even know if that's how you guys do it in the Green Berets or whatever, but like,
so it all falls under unconventional warfare, right? Unconventional warfare has the subversion side of it, right? That's part of the destabilization efforts. It also has like developing the underlying shadow government, you could call it, right? Through your insurgency force or your resistance force, whatever. We'll use those two words interchangeably as we talk about like a resistance force or an insurgency. Is usually in any civil war, 99.9% of the time, it's not between, like we would say, Republicans and Democrats. That's not where you're going to see a civil war. You're going to see a civil war between the government and a separate faction. Now, if they're a resistance force, that's what we as Green Berets call the good guys, which means I'm trying to overthrow your government. So the resistance force or fighters I'm working with are the good guys, they're resistance force. If I'm working on behalf of the government, like we were in, let's say, Afghanistan on behalf of the Afghan nationals, then the Taliban are an insurgency. They're the bad guys that are trying to overthrow the government. So those two things are resistance force, insurgency, exact same thing. We just changed the word depending on
what side we're on,
who we're supporting at the time.
Yeah.
And so what I mean by this is, when you're talking about, again, if any civil war is going to be the government versus some type of other faction, this is where this discussion about a soft civil war in America gets very interesting, because what we're watching in the streets of places like Minneapolis is the government against a faction in America that's literally fighting it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of different ways, in different techniques. Right now, you're more in a non-tactical subversive environment, using whistles, using infrastructure networks through signal chat to let people know where ICE is coming. These are all like actual anti-government, technically, war things that are happening here,
and well funded,
very well funded. So we know that's happening in the United States, especially in places like Minneapolis. Is you already have a giant faction of people who are fighting the government.
Yep.
Kind of already in a civil war, soft civil war, small level, right? You'll probably see that all over the country before you saw something like explode into what it eventually turns into is something like in Afghanistan, right? Where you have the government or the supporters of the government versus a huge faction, which is like the other half of the country is fighting against the government. So I don't think we're there yet, but I do think we have signs of like starting where you have giant sections of populace who are literally out on the streets fighting against law enforcement and the government. Like that's pretty close.
And the other thing too is that there are factions or leadership in state governments that are a part of organizing and probably in some cases actually being out in resisting against the federal forces. And so, I mean, that in and of itself, I mean, obviously you don't have like state military forces going out and then fighting against federal military forces. But as soon as you have state leadership involved in large scale organization of resistance of the type that you're laying out, that we're looking at in Minnesota, and the resistance is exclusively against a law enforcement force from the federal government. I mean, that is basically civil war kind of by definition, or like, right?
Well,
yeah, I mean, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to, so like one thing a lot of people talk about is what the people on the street are doing, the protesters, the paid opposition. A lot of people aren't talking about who's funding them and pushing them to do that stuff and supporting them. So I just wanted to show this video here really quick. And this is Jeffrey, what's his first name? Hakeem Jeffries, right?
It's disgraceful. She's got to go. We are dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently. She's got to go.
Noam?
Yep.
And by the way, She's not the only one.
So his
Wait,
wording.
is there a clip that shows? Are you like? I mean, I believe you if it's her, but like, is there? I just want to like, if he's talking about her and like, did he? I want to hear him say that he's talking about Kristi Noem.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Like,
I think I saw the full length
yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have seen it, then I trust. I believe it, dude. So,
but to Matt's point, like the verbiage there is pretty aggressive, right? Talking about putting a government official on ice. When we say that, typically that's a mafia term for fucking killing someone.
Especially followed by the word permanently.
Yeah. It's not very indirect.
Those of you that are awake, that see what's going on, what do you think the solution is? I think the murder of Renee Good, the murder of Alex Preddy, putting children on planes and taking them to detention centers, which are really concentration camps. Call it what it is. They're concentration camps in the United States of America in 2026. So take that in. And I know you don't want to participate in something radical. I don't either. I wish I could just go on the road and do my funny stories about celebrities.
No, it's interesting how they keep saying stuff like that. Like, I don't really want violence. I don't want to be a violent person. But yeah, but let's put them on ice, right?
Yeah, I mean, and what she said right there.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I mean, you don't need to play the rest. You don't even need or I mean, I want to see it obviously, but I'm saying like you wouldn't even need to play the rest to already know exactly what she's saying. She said, you know, I understand you don't want to do something violent, and that is what do we like? All of us speak English. We're all grown-ups. That is the setup for. I know you don't want to do this, but this is something that needs to be done, obviously, you know, like in not very veiled language. Now, I wonder, like, because some of these people I think are knowing agitators, others are complete fucking retards, and she's probably a little bit of both, I would imagine, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to take her seriously, but here's the reality, guys, is like, and it's not something we probably agree with, but there is the side of things that there's just a shit ton of Americans who have watched what happened and are watching what happened that are good Americans. They're good people. And they also don't fucking like what they're seeing coming out of the government. I mean, there's that too. As conservatives, we're the don't tread on me crowd, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have to, and here's where this gets interesting when you're talking about civil wars and insurgencies and resistance forces. Well, who's the good guy? Who's the good guys here? Who's the resistance force? Is this are the people who are protesting against ICE and the government? Are they the good guys? Are they the bad guys? If we look back at the formation of this country, we overthrew a fucking government to become a country. We were the good guys there. So my question is like, and again, I personally am not on the side of like, hey, we got to get out there and fucking protest and do like, I'm not going to get out there and protest against what's happening because I don't like what I'm seeing with ICE. I think it's poor police work. I think they need a shit ton more training, but I also don't disagree with having good immigration policy. Like, I think most of us on both sides were still in agreement that like, hey, I want all the fucking violent criminals out of this country. I want all the violent illegals out of this fucking country. And that's not going to be the easiest thing to do. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that the people protesting in their communities also aren't just like good Americans who don't like watching fucking their neighbors get shot in the street. You know, and that's why it's such a divisive topic here. You know what I mean?
It's
so
like
this really quick. So just this really quick, and I want to hear both of your opinion on this. It's really important because it's terminology, right? So this person says protesting is a protected right, and yes,
he's right.
Yes, it is. But protesting when you're paid to do it, and
not in a church, as we saw with Don Lemon, right? There is like this. The First Amendment is not this blanket that just allows you to fucking do whatever you want and protest wherever you want. There still is limitations to that with kind of what we saw with. Oh, we're going to talk about Don Lemon right here. Yeah,
and make sure.
Yeah, you guys... I talked about that with Gabrielle because she, Gabrielle. I mean, she's conservative and obviously super smart, but doesn't, she hasn't spent an enormous amount of time thinking specifically about the application of 2A or any of this stuff. And so when we were doing our show, she had just watched the press secretary, and she was talking, she had just said something about, carrying to one of the protests. And I mean, I just explained it to her. I'm like, look, there is no world under any circumstances where you can get on board with limiting an American's right to carry a firearm.
Absolutely not.
Especially if that legislation is tied to the congregation of additional Americans, because that is exactly like the opposing force to that is the entire reason that the right exists. So like you can't carry there if your intent is to use it and to commit a crime. But when it comes to like them carrying and if they want extra magazines, like there's no fucking conversation there. It's legal. They're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it, period.
Well, not only that, but I'm going to teach you. I teach concealed handgun license courses. I can register people fucking legally, right? And we teach that you probably want to have an extra magazine or two. You probably want to have a tourniquet or two. These are extra things that you're going to want to have on you if you're carrying, because if you get put in the position that you need to use that weapon, is one magazine going to be enough? I don't know. Maybe not, but I don't want to run out. Right. So the idea, and this is coming from the right, which is so bizarre to me that you keep hearing this from Kash Patel and Kristi Noem and even Donald Trump saying, wow, you just can't show up to a protest with a loaded gun and 2 extra magazines. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about? Because I do that every time I go to a protest, and I'm going to continue doing that.
He did that. He showed up with his gun that he legally attained, and he had a concealed carry permit. He did not have any identification with him.
So but I mean, either way, though, like a person.
What do you mean by identification? Like identifying that he's a CHL holder, or that he didn't have a wallet on him with an ID?
According to everything that I've seen, he didn't have an identification at all. He had nothing. He had nothing to identify him. He just was carrying a gun. So that's illegal. But,
I mean, that is illegal if he doesn't. I mean, if he doesn't have an ID on him, but that's it's state to state. But nonetheless, like the thing about the extra magazine totally is like, dude, that rig that he had, the setup that he had, I'm surprised zero if his daily setup is one that has an additional mag, in there. And like, although what is the fuck? I just had a curiosity, totally unrelated,
state, right? Because any state with constitutional carry, that's not going to matter.
Oh, so really? Yeah, because in Texas, you can like here.
Yeah, it's a constitutional carry state, right? So that wouldn't matter there. But I don't know what the laws are in Minneapolis. But I'm a 2A absolutist, which means to me is I don't give a shit about the CHL. I don't give a shit about the permit. I have a constitutional right to carry my gun on me at all times. Now, that maybe not be legal by the law sometimes, but that's just how I look at it, because the Constitution gives me that right. And maybe you pay the price later if you decided to carry without an ID or something like that. But that's the way I look at the Second Amendment. It's you have a constitutional right to carry that weapon. Unless you're a felon, I guess, right? There is limitations to that, but I also disagree with that. I don't agree. I'm very hard staunch on this with 2A. If you're a felon and you got released from prison and the legal system said you paid back your duties to society, then you should be able to fucking have a weapon and carry it as well. Even as I
agree. If you're a threat, why are you out?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're that big of a threat, you should still be in prison. So I'm pretty hardcore in my on as far right as you can get on 2A.
So am I.
And when I hear government officials like Kash Patel saying, no, you just can't do this. You can't be carrying a gun at a protest. I'm like, no, sorry, this is not the political party. Like, is Republicans now the political party of like, oh, well, shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have had your gun on you. Like, is that really where we want to move? We're all 2A guys, right? So it's like, is that really the direction we want to go?
Yep. I mean, I lived in California for years, and in California, it's county to county. So you have to get the sheriff of the county determines whether you can have a concealed carry permit or not. And there's certain counties that everybody knows they're going to give you one. There's others that for sure you're not. I was in Contra Costa County, which was a what's the word? Whatever. They might give you one. So I was at the time I was 30 years old. Absolutely no like criminal record whatsoever. That, you have to write a reason. I said that I was, I was a business owner, had to carry some cash around, whatever. Like, I went through the first 3 steps, and then I had my interview with the sheriff, which is the last step. Everything went well. He denied it. I wrote him and I appealed it. And I was like, I'm very confused why I would be denied, the ability to carry this firearm. I like, what did we go off of? Whatever. He denied the appeal. I asked again, and the way that I'm like, can you give me an example of when you would grant this, if this is a may grant county. And he said, well, I'll tell you, the last one that I granted was a man who had been the victim of a firearm assault, and the guy who had shot him had been released and then was moving back to his neighborhood. And I'm like, so you're saying for you to grant me the right to carry a firearm, I need to survive getting shot by an enemy, and then they're going to need to move next door? It's fucking ridiculous. I carried all the fucking time in California. And, you know, not every day when I do now, because it was, you know, but like, I remember I was coming home on the train from work one day, and there were these two guys. It's the only time I've ever seen anyone shoot heroin into their arm, like actually inject heroin. The only time. These guys were doing heroin in the back of this thing, and they were using this massive fucking knife to chop it down. And all I was thinking in my head is, I'm like, why am I not allowed to be prepared in case that guy takes that knife and starts putting it in people, including myself? It's absurd. It's a right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why you look at places like California where it's insane like that. And you're not wrong. Oregon does have some counties as well where, hey, you might want to come get your concealed license course through me down in southern rural Oregon, and that way, because the sheriff's department here is super pro 2A and where we live. But yeah, that's a real problem around the country. But again, like, that's, for me, I'm just a constitutional right to carry guy. So it's like, whether I got a CHL, whether I don't, I mean, I don't think we should even have concealed carry laws at all. Like, I have a legal right to carry my gun. If I want to have it concealed, it's concealed. Now, I do encourage people to take CHL courses to learn the law.
100%.
Absolutely, because the legal use of force is actually, in state by state, is very, very, very specific, and you're gonna want to know the right thing to do. Even if you use your weapon completely legally in self-defense, you want to know exactly what to say to the officers. You want to know exactly how to handle yourself afterwards. So I would highly suggest people take training and courses to learn those things, because it's only going to help you. But as for the government telling me, outside of like a fucking airport, right, or federal buildings, which we all just are like, okay, that's the law for everyone, whatever, the post office. But outside of that, man, like on my campus, University of Oregon campus, not allowed to have a gun there. Guess who had his gun on him at all times? Me, right? Because I have a constitutional right to carry, and I don't care what the government says. Yeah,
excellent. Hey, pleasure to meet. It's a pleasure to see you here too. What? Pleasure to see you here too, my man. How do you guys both feel about because like the one thing that I entertained is just like you can't deny someone the right to buy and own a firearm, but maybe there is a licensing where they have to take and pass a very basic course to be able to carry it around.
Oregon just tried to pass this law, measure 118. They just tried to do it.
The only reason that I even bring it up is because I just like I take carrying a firearm super fucking serious, and I look at it in the way where I explain it to my kids why I carry a gun everywhere. It's like, because I know that if I have a firearm anywhere that we are, we and everyone else around us is safer because of it. And that's not the case with some people, but in our family, we'll always make the environment safer if I'm armed. So like, I guess like logically, I kind of think maybe there's an argument to like, to just make sure people know how to fucking use the gun. And so they're going to be making people safer as opposed to less, I don't know.
Nate, I know you've probably seen this. I'm a firearms instructor as well. And it's pretty typical that people come in and they can shoot well enough to get through the class. Usually I'd say probably 99% of people pass, even people who have never shot before, right? It's not super difficult, but I've seen police officers and especially a lot of
some of the worst, dude.
Police officers that couldn't shoot for shit. So
shoot at all.
I think Jesse's onto something. Like, yes, like it can't be impossible. It can't be like 100% required, but it would be good to have people know how to shoot and prove they can shoot.
So Oregon tried this with Measure 118 2 years ago. They tried to tie, you had to have some type of training course through someone like me or Matt to be able to purchase the firearm. And at the time, I was like, well, here's the thing. They did push it through, and then it got overturned constitutionally. But here was the thing. That at the time, as a firearms instructor, I was like, this is massive. This would be massive business for me. Insane business, dude. Yeah. Because the sheriff's departments, and I work with the sheriff's departments here, talking to the sheriff, he's like, dude, we don't have the time or the resources to fucking teach all these people courses. So we would have to offshore this to firearms instructors. It's the only way we could do it. And there's only a couple of them in town. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be a millionaire overnight if this
You start
goes through.
lobbying for it. You just throw
No,
your
I was
your
completely
principles to the
against it.
fucking.
And not only that, but me and one of my partners, firearms instructors, he actually funded the legal battle on behalf of the people of Oregon to get it overturned. And that was a firearms instructor who did that. Simply, even though it would be an amazing for business, we're not going to support getting people's 2A's rights trampled on them like that. So all of the firearms instructors, even though it had been great for us, still were like, no, you can't fucking do this.
Stand up move, dude.
But to your point, yeah, I do want people, if you're going to, and this is why I said this, if you're going to carry a gun on your own behalf, please go get training from firearms instructors. Not just because legally you want to be like doing the right thing and be safe, but you want to actually be able to use that firearm proficiently to save your own life and your kid's life and your wife's life. And if you don't know what you're doing and you get in a gunfight with a bad guy, and he knows how to shoot and you don't, that gun's not going to help you anyway.
A person that's armed that is very, very inexperienced is going to do the opposite. They're going to increase the likelihood that someone gets killed because of their, most likely, I think.
And a lot of times it's themselves on the draw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So just really quick in chat, if you guys can hit that like, make sure you guys subscribe to Real Jesse on Fire, as well as Valhalla VFT. And also, I'm just curious in the chat, do you think that the left, right, the stereotypical left, the Democrats, the liberals, or the right, the stereotypical Republicans, who's right and who's wrong? So in the chat, put left if you think if you think the left.
Where's the fuck that question box?
Yes.
You know?
On what's the specific thing we're talking about for who's right or wrong here?
If they think they're the good guys, just whatever.
The good guy. Okay. In the situation that we were talking about, like, okay.
Yep. So if you think the left is the good guys, put left. If you think the right's the good guys, put right.
I would put I reject the question because I can't. I can't imagine it applying to things that, like, you know, it's like there's a lot. I mean, in some cases, it's like, well, it seems like there's a much bigger contingency of bad guys on the left for this issue than there are on the right, and then other times it's like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I think.
So what do you think, Matt? What do you think?
Oh yeah, let's get yours, Matt.
So
we all have to give an answer because it's controversial.
Well, so mine would be that both sides are. They both have their divisive figures that lead them, right? So they have people that are saying the other side's wrong, the other side's bad, the other side is passing laws that want to take us down, they're infringing on our rights, they're bad people, right? So they're forcing people to be divisive, and they make money off of it. It keeps things politically more interesting. So I think both sides are wrong in a lot of ways based on the leadership. It's up to the individual. And I've seen a lot of people that flipped. They were on the left and then they flipped to the right, supposedly, to vote for Trump and the new administration. And obviously, like half or more of his administration used to be hardcore liberals, right?
Anti-Trumpers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it depends. It's one of those things. It depends on what side you're on, if you're the good guy or not. The people on the left, they think what they're doing is morally righteous. I mean, this is the way I always thought. I think people on the left think emotionally, not always, right? But people on the left think more emotionally and empathetically than the right does. And for me, being on the right, I think I am a pretty empathetic person, actually, though, because I think I'm pretty socially liberal, so I lean that way. But I think it just depends on who you think who the good guy is, right? If you're in the community of Minneapolis and you're a leftist and you're out on the street protesting ICE, like, you believe you're doing the right thing for humanity and Americans, where people on the right might look at that and be like, no, we know that 20 million people entered this country illegally in the last 5 years, and there's a big fucking problem with that, and it's causing a lot of problems. I just think overall, I don't think the people on the left are the bad guys, and I don't think the people on the right are the bad guys. I just think that you're looking at this differently, and to Matt's point, it's being set up to where it's being leveraged to be divisive against each other, because I say this all the time. I'm a big proponent of, like, we're all in this together, man. Yes. Christians, Muslims, Jews, blacks, whites, left, right. I think the big problem is the power establishment in this country, and the government and the corporations and the oligarchs. And so I don't think the left or the right is the bad guy, personally.
I
just think it depends on what you believe based off of your morals on that specific thing. Now, there is people that are doing bad things in general on both sides, no doubt. But I don't think as a whole, the millions that, 100 million Democrats out there, the 100 million Republicans, I don't think they're inherently bad. I think they just look at the issues differently.
Yeah. I think like if I had to like boil it down to like a specific group that are the bad guys, I actually can do that, but it's a group that exists on both sides, and it's the people who are constantly having opinions that dehumanize other Americans that disagree with them, and they don't even like, they can't even see it because they're so consumed with hatred for the other side that that's what they put out into the ether. Their ideas are always fucking terrible. Their ideas are always predictable, and they can't even see an issue through the lens of what is actually causing this in terms of like, because society, we make rules and then we have to implement the enforcement of those rules. At the end of the day, that's like most stuff that we do. That's like that's all that it really is. And it's like, okay, so you're upset that this is being meted out this way. So if there are these people where their sole look at like what ICE is doing is, where is ICE? Because I want to go and harass, hurt, and potentially kill ICE agents, or at the very least, if they died, I would be stoked. And if I go to that person, I'm like, so what's your solution? Like, like, do you think we have a problem at all? And they'd be like, well, in what way? It's like, well, we're solving for a lot of people here that are skirting the laws that we all have agreed on. How do we solve for that? And like the ones that literally just, they have no answer. It's not even really driven by empathy for people who are being deported. It is a purely hate-driven ideology. And like the guy in fucking that won the AG in Virginia, that guy. Fuck that guy. That's who I'm talking about. Those kinds of people. And if they're on the right, left, same. Like those are the bad actors.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it looks like a lot of people agree overall, which is interesting. So one thing I want to talk about is foreign involvement, right? Like we talked about our government. We've talked about the people here who are polarizing and the political figures that are pushing people certain directions. But now I want to talk about involvement from other countries, which we know has definitely happened. Yeah. So foreign adversaries,
except for America. America would never do this to foreign countries with Green Berets and the CIA. But yeah.
So foreign adversaries, particularly Russia, China, and Iran that we know about, have actively sought to exacerbate divisions in the U.S. and a lot of it's through social media.
There's another country. There's a big country we're missing with those three.
Oh yeah,
big country we're missing.
The one of which we do not speak on YouTube. Yeah.
Not an ally of them, but running the same game as them. With their own kind of stuff. But it's so funny. Did you guys remember when they released the JFK files? I think it was the JFK. It was either the JFK files or the Epstein files, and they had those CIA documents where they had a plan that they were going to implement, where they were going to launch a social media platform inside Cuba that they were going to get people using with the actual purpose to sway public opinion against their government. And I remember reading that. I'm like, hey guys, that sound fucking familiar to anything, dude? TikTok's the hottest social. It was like, this is the plan. They were trying to do it in Cuba. China actually executed on that in the, most powerful country in the world. Like they came in the back door and they botted people into going all in on TikTok because it was the first time. Everybody wants to be an influencer. That's all they figured out. They cracked the code. Everyone wants to be an influencer. People come on TikTok and it's like, oh my God, hey babe, I'm actually getting a lot of followers. The reason I have a channel is because Gabrielle, my wife, she's like, I'm on this TikTok thing. She's like, I don't know. I'm getting like a lot of followers. I'm like, oh, I'll just give it a shot. And I fucking blew up on TikTok, and I'm no different than anybody else. That's why everybody was getting on. They're like, dude, I've got like 500 fucking followers. And then boom, they are infecting the brains of Americans across the board with an absolutely brilliantly executed plan,
And they want allowed in China. And here's the interesting thing to me. It's people know that they're doing this. They know that they're spying. They know there's backdoors in the software. But as soon as it gets bought by, I guess, someone in Australia, is that who it was, like an Australian businessman or something? Now everybody wants to jump ship and go to Upscroller or whatever that's called. But they were fine for a decade with China doing it. That's interesing.
Oh, you're talking about who bought TikTok?
Upscroller? I haven't heard of that. Is that the
Larry Ellison bought TikTok, big dog.
Yeah.
Who is exactly who we were talking about? Thou shall not be named. That
Correct.
falls.
That group was getting smoked on TikTok though, like because all the footage that was turning people everybody was just like
So
TikTok
can I explain a little bit about like from the government level how we do like a destabilizing effort and the reason why we do it, because it kind of will make sense for
please.
how foreign countries are doing it here, and trust me, they are doing it here. So let's take Syria for example. Syria is a really good example of a civil war that's been going on for 12 years that was artificially created by the United States essentially. And so what we do when we're trying to get foreign involvement is typically we don't really need to get, like when we talk about regime change, I don't really need to get like the perfect pro-American puppet into power. What I need to do is just destabilize your country. So if you look at Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, Sudan, Libya, Lebanon, right? You go down the list, Syria. We didn't actually facilitate any real regime change to make things better, but we did do is go in and completely destabilize the country. So what we did in Syria is that we had Assad in power, who was being backed by our biggest adversaries in Iran, China, and Russia. So what did we want to do? We wanted to get in there and destabilize the country, mainly because we wanted them to not be a problem for our greatest ally, of course. But so what we did is we actually went in, and the Department of Defense armed one group of rebels. The CIA armed a different group of rebels. And then you had the main government. And we actually, at one point, had the DOD fighting the CIA in Syria against each other, as well as fighting a three-pronged war, civil war against the government. And why are we doing that? Well, not because we give a shit about who eventually takes power, because who took power? Al-Jilani, the former head of Al-Qaeda. But what we cared about was completely destabilizing the country so that we could then remove the official government under Assad from power. And then it doesn't even matter what you put in, because now you're just a failed state. And so we've done that in every single Middle Eastern country. And so when you're looking at what foreign actors like China, Russia, Iran might be doing, they can come in and do the exact same thing. They can come in, they can fund protests, they can go to these riots, they can use crowd manipulation to incite the riots, to incite violence. It doesn't take that many people. You could do it with 10 Green Berets could go into Minneapolis and cause a civil war fucking event that would blow the country's mind. So that's really what's going on within foreign involvement right now, is through leveraging money,
thousands of
helping set up all of these riots and protests, because they're trying to destabilize the fabric of society, because it just weakens America as a country overall. So that's how, when people think like, oh, is there foreign involvement? 1,000%. Like that's who is funding a lot of these groups, is foreign actors and agitators. And the same thing we talk about Charlie Kirk. Why do I believe there was foreign involvement in Charlie Kirk? Because look at the fallout of the Charlie Kirk's assassination. The amount of divisiveness, craziness that's come from that. That's an amazingly pulled off assassination if you're being supported by Iran or China or Russia or Israel, whoever the fuck. So that is what's happening when we're talking about like foreign involvement to destabilize the country. We're in like sort of that subversive stage where it's mainly being done through low level and financing right now. But you can definitely see the writing on the wall for it, because we do the same thing in these other foreign countries to our adversaries, China and Russia.
So what do you guys think is actually fueling the infighting within MAGA? Like this whole America First thing and Trump and Green and all that, like it all happened about the same time. So what actually triggered that?
I have my opinions.
I have opinions also. You want me to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I think it was a combination of a few things. I think it was I think the Epstein files was a catastrophic development, but I think before that, I think that there was I think that the Trump administration did not fully understand two things. A was how important not fucking it up with the Epstein files was, and then two, I think they drastically underestimated the groundswell of feelings related to that Middle East country that that you don't even want to talk about. Like I think that those two things, because the bottom line is like leadership in a country requires consensus from the population to a certain point. They don't have to allow the government to go this direction, knowing the real reason why. But the reason there's so many things that the government does with the people is because you need to get them to agree to certain things. And like, maybe you lie to them so that they'll agree to it because you can't share the whatever, or you don't want to. And like, in this case, they didn't understand that the Epstein files was literally a hand grenade that was a thermonuclear bomb, that if they fucked it up, it was going to, especially because Trump's name was going to be in it, regardless of, whether he was friends with him for a while and then, threw him to the wolves, or if he's like a participant, whatever. Either way, you getting tied to this, but even worse than that, at least, well, maybe not worse, but looking like you're covering it up was going to be catastrophic. And then the Charlie Kirk thing that happened as well. And the appearance of, I don't know, potentially cover up with Kash. You also have Kash Patel as the director of the FBI. And like, he's going around, I don't know, just as like a couple, but I think Epstein and the groundswell of opposition in that one area are probably the two main things.
You want me to go? I'll go. Oh, excuse me. I actually agree with Jesse on two of the biggest ones. For me, the moment Donald Trump came out and said, if you're still talking about Epstein, you're no longer my supporter. I think that was the moment for so many conservatives that just said, fucking, okay, I'm out. Later, dude. Obviously, the genocide in Gaza, if you're going to get upset about me calling it a genocide, I don't care. That's what it is. That's what I can look at with my own eyes. That, obviously, and you just look at the numbers, the support shift from October 7th, I think Israel and Donald Trump were like plus 10 above water polling wise for what was happening in Palestine. If you look at it now, they're like minus 48 underwater. It's like their worst issue by far. So I do think that, but I think the real thing is Trump abandoned America First values and just policy wise. I mean, we're all looking at it. We're all watching the tens to hundreds of billions of dollars that continue flowing to Israel and Ukraine and Argentina and Uganda, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, everywhere you look. And then like what American issues, like think about things. The border wall. Where's the border wall? The border wall been talked about since 2016. It only cost $5 billion. We just sent $40 billion to a random South American country we're barely even allied with. So like things like that. And you have the economy. The economy's not good. The labor market's not good. Like all of the things that sort of MAGA promised, none of them, other than I would say the border being closed, I think is a success. Other than that, like you haven't held to anything you ran on because you didn't run on, hey, we have to do everything we can for our greatest ally and everybody else comes second. Nobody voted for that.
Well, it's interesting that the Democratic Party, they had Biden in there. They had those years to put out the Epstein files if it was so damning against Trump and other people, but they didn't. And now he has it, and he's putting pieces out, but it seems like it's getting redacted and other things are happening. So it makes you wonder, like, is this Epstein files thing bigger than both parties? Is it bigger than the U.S.?
Of course. Yeah. I think Jesse, me and you have talked about it before on stream, but yeah, the reality is, like, why didn't either side put out the Epstein files? Well, because our high side CIA and intelligence apparatus are not going to let it happen, right? Because the truth is, we know Jeffrey Epstein, 100% a Mossad and CIA asset. And so what we do know is the American government was not only complicit in, but actually supported a international child sex trafficking ring to get leverage and blackmail on foreign dignitaries and our own politicians. That's what happened. And so to your point, Matt, yeah, it's bigger than the left and the right. Why? Because think about all the blackmail the CIA has on the world right now. They still have it. And so if you put all that blackmail out for everybody to see, guess what you don't have anymore? Leverage.
Bingo.
And so you're asking the government to turn in the government. And I can promise you that will never, ever happen. The government's not going to.
Blackmail has no value the second that people know it exists.
Exactly. And so what you as an American have to decide is like, okay, do you think it's more important to lose that leverage and power on the world stage, or is it more important that our government is cleaned out and isn't run by a bunch of pedophiles? For me, I fall in the second camp, where like I'm okay losing that blackmail and leverage and losing some of that power on the world stage to get accountability for like all of these sick bastards that raped kids. That's where I'm at, personally.
It like just like it's like I understand how like actually complicated all of this stuff fits together, but just on a fundamental level, if I have to accept that I pay taxes and $1 of my taxes went to identifying a child that does not have parents that care about them so they could be sexually exploited in a power game, like that's not acceptable to me at all. I don't care if it's a fucking penny. I just like that can't be a thing that I have anything other than disdain and the aggressive enforcement that like we need to get people who do that and fucking make that stop immediately, you know.
I'm just looking at chat here. It seems a lot of people they don't have a lot of interest in the Epstein files. Maybe they've just been going for too long.
To be clear though, like
well, I think that's what they're. I think that's what they want, though, guys.
I still support the Trump administration. I think they're doing a lot of like,
Yeah.
you know, there's like I never am black and white on anything. It's like I think that they've got big problems over there. I think that clearly in the Middle East, at least from my perspective, it seems as though decisions are being made because of what appears to be this gigantic redevelopment in Gaza that Kushner and Trump are going to do. That's going to be worth enormous amounts of money. And obviously those are two really big things, but there's a lot of other things that go into, you know, running a country. And like, I always look at presidential campaigns as like, I got to pick one or the other. You know what I mean? It's like, I got two fucking choices. And anyway, I still support them when they're doing things that I support. But honestly, I would support the Democrats if they were doing stuff that I liked also. It's just, I mean, I just never tie myself too emotionally to any group unless, you know, there's a reason or whatever. But
yeah, I don't think anyone should ever be choosing Democrat or Republican based on just the party's name.
Yeah,
it should be based on what they're doing, what laws they instill, what kind of people they represent. And that's
I would argue, guys, and this is just my own takes at politics, that you should just look at the issues and the candidates individually. I just really don't like the idea of like, hey, I'm going to vote for this Republican because he's a Republican, or I'm going to vote for this Democrat because he's a Democrat. It's like, well, for example of this, like, hey, Graham Plattner's a Democrat, like staunch pro 2A guy, very America first. Lindsey Graham's a Republican with an F in Liberty score and trying to get us in wars everywhere and like the worst person in the world. Who would I support in a race between the two? Graham Plattner. And I would probably not vote for almost any other Democrat, but I'm not voting for this Republican. So the same thing for the issues, right? And this is kind of what we're seeing now. Everything's getting so foggy with the issues because of tribalism. Look at the Preddy shooting, right? Everybody has pretty much at this point said, probably not a very good shoot. Okay. But depending on what party you fell into, you immediately did one of two things. If you were a Republican, you said, oh, yep, nope, good job, ICE. If you were a Democrat, you said that's murder. Before we got more video, before we got any evidence, you knew people were just going to fall immediately into those camps.
Yeah.
I just encourage people to just like look at each individual issue that pops up or policy and like make your own decision based off of your own values and morals, not what Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris tell you should think about those issues.
And
everybody did that, but it's a lot more. But it's a lot more work, right? Like,
yeah,
I do understand. Like, we do this for a living. We talk about these things, so we're invested. The people watching this are taking in independent media from YouTube. They're interested. But like the average person, does the average person like have the? I'm not going to say IQ, but like just the time to like be like really investing and trying to figure all these things out. Maybe not. And maybe that's where political parties become like the default of like, well, I don't have time to learn about all the issues, so I'm Republican or I'm Democrat and I just vote party line. So
yeah, I totally agree with you. And you know, one thing that I just was talking about this in my video today is about how exactly what you're saying, how like default settings keep determining what people think no matter what. And I'm so bored by all of that. Unless the people get so extreme that they start, you know, putting out on social media that they think that they should start poisoning people who support this or that, then they get my attention. But in terms of like assessing people who fall into those categories in either direction, right or left, the thing that I've noticed recently is that the more kind of independently minded, like I hate fucking the alpha male thing. I hate that. But like alpha sigma type of personality, the more likely they are to be able to kind of differentiate. And I think that that's actually a biological wiring thing, in that the less that you feel confident in your ability to like stand on your own too and defend your own house and like, you know, be able to invite, the more dependent on the safety of a group that you're going to be. So if you think about it, like literally just in the jungle, the more you are going to rely on 10 people being there to help you, the more likely you are to fall into the camp that doesn't even fucking think. And they're like on either side, like it appears that way to me, generally speaking.
So what do you think about like Ilhan Omar and Mandami and like the Minnesota fraud and that kind of stuff? How much do you think us letting people come in here and get positions in office who are foreign? And
I don't like it at all, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it should happen. I don't know how it's happened, and it's getting worse. It sees.
I don't disagree at all in terms of like that. You know, at least people should at least have to have been here for I don't know when. I mean, I don't know when she got here. Not to use her as an example. I actually told a positive story about her that I heard from Anna Paulina Luna on a video the other day. But like, obviously, I have huge issues with Ilhan Omar. Like, she's worth $30 million now somehow. She, you know, just on an ethics standpoint, she got to, you know, she's like, I'm a Muslim, whatever, doing this, and I family values. She got to DC, and immediately after getting elected, she started fucking a white lobbyist, and she left her husband and her 3 kids. And it's, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, now she's together with that other guy, and they're like, you know, oh, now I'm worth $30 million, and my kids, like not her brother, like her actual husband. It's like, my kids and my husband. Fuck, dude. You thought I was going to stay with those motherfuckers? I got elected to Congress, dog. But like there, you know, Anna Paulina Luna told the story where they were in a convoy in the European Union, and some French guy that was there, like a French government leader, was like talking a bunch of shit about Trump, and she said that Ilhan Omar stopped the guy, and she's like, "That's the American president. That's our president, and you're going to respect him when you talk to us about him." And I was like. And that Anna Paulina Luna was the one that told that story. And I was like, shit, son.
Is that since the fraud stuff came out or before?
Before what?
Was that before the fraud stuff came out about her? She might be trying to save face now.
Yeah, I think I saw her tell that story on PBD. But it was one of those things I'm like, dude, you just went from a 1 to a 5. You know, like at least I know that we share that same value in terms of America versus everybody else. Like that's what I was talking about with Brittany Griner. Like when people were like, leave her in Russia. I'm like, fucking yeah, right, guy. That she's America. She is America. Like you get her back here and I can make fun of her being a dude. I can tell all her woke friends they can go fuck themselves, but she's in a Russian gulag being held as a political prisoner and she's American. Fuck that shit, dude. You know what I mean?
One of my buddies actually was the one who went and got her from Russia, by the way.
That's really?
Story. Yeah. I got to make sure I can tell the story first though. So I'm not going to tell it, but
fair enough.
But, so for me with that, look, like, I don't care if you're Muslim, if you're black, if you're white, I have no problem with any of that. I think, you know, that's fine for running for political office. But for when you're talking about immigrants, I think second generation, man, if you move to this country and like people might get upset about this, and this is for everybody. This is for Israelis. This is for Somalis, everyone. I don't think that you should be able to run for political office. I just don't. I think your kids should be able to, because that's shown that you're going to establish a life here and then you're planning on being Americans and being a part of the American system going forward. But I 100% like you should be able to come here. You should be able to become a citizen, work, all those things. But like, no, I don't want you in charge of politics or anything because you come from a different culture. And I'm a big American values, American culture guy. And so again, that might be a little controversial for some people to think, but we do it with our presidents. Why do we do that with our presidents? Why do we say no foreign born are allowed to be the president of the United States? Well, for a reason. And so I think maybe like at the local level, election level, but like in Congress, where how easy is it for these foreign born officials to, I don't know, take loyalties to their country, like a very specific country that's very obvious with about fucking 40 politicians. It's too easy for that, right? And then your loyalties are not necessarily completely aligned with America or the American people or your constituents. And so, I'm just like a second generation guy. I'm all about you coming here and you can be part of the country and be a citizen. But like, if you moved here 6 years ago, you don't need to be running a city in America. Like,
I honestly, that has never been a big issue that I've thought about, but after you framing it that way, it just became one for me where I couldn't fucking agree with a position on a policy more than I agree with that in general. Like I am 100% aligned with that.
Yeah. And there's no negatives to you. Like you still can come here. You can become a citizen. You can live everything great parts of the American life. But like, I don't need you making policy. If you
want to represent a large group of Americans, like you need to be American all the way through. And your kids can do that. Like if you're first generation.
Well, and other countries aren't doing that. They're not importing a bunch of Americans to run in their Congress.
Yeah.
So like, why would we be the one country that does that?
Exactly. Like they try that in China, dude. Head over there.
Yeah.
I'll read that super chat. Real Base said, Jesse, glad you said that about America. I feel the same way. Always want our presidents to succeed. You hope there's just more we don't know. And even if there's scumbags, there are scumbags. America first. God bless you guys. Happy Friday. Thank you so much, dude. And it's very generous and well thought out. I appreciate you and agree.
So now, Nate, say they're second generation. What's your thoughts on dual citizenship?
Oh, I'm a huge no dual citizenship in America guy. So this is another hot take. I don't believe if you want to be a citizen in this country, you want to be an American citizen, you renounce your citizenship. Whether you're from the United Kingdom, you're from Israel, you're from China, you want to be a citizen here in the greatest country on the planet, you renounce your citizenship, you have one citizenship, which means you moved here and you're all in. You're all in, baby. You ain't moving back when things go bad. Because for me, I don't know about you guys, but I got nowhere else to go. I'm going down with the ship in America, and I love this country. And so if you want to be a citizen of this country, I think you should have to renounce your citizenship. I don't want, and that's a dual citizenship with allies, with the United States, with the United Kingdom, with Israel, with Australia. Well, Israel's not our ally, but you get my point. Even like allied countries, I still don't want you to have dual citizenship here.
Yeah, my wife has.
Why do you have dual loyalty?
Yeah.
If you want to be a citizen in this country, why do you still have dual loyalty to a different country?
Yeah, my wife would renounce her UK citizenship in 1 second if that was the law. In 1 second.
And I think everybody would. So again, why are we allowing it? I don't know. Well, like what benefit does it give America to have a bunch of, especially in Congress, Matt? You know what I mean? Like dual citizenship congressmen, senators. Does that sound like a good idea, guys?
I hadn't thought about that, and I just added to my list of things that I now am fucking 100% aligned with you on. That's both of those things. Because the thing is, like, dude, if you want to be a member of the group that is there to create policy and represent the collective, there can't be any like half in, 80% in. Like you need to be all in America. No, like period. That's it.
Well, I just saw somebody talking about making fun of Ted Cruz from that. Like when Ted Cruz goes on Tucker Carlson's podcast and says, I came to the Senate to be the biggest advocate for Israel in America. It's like, okay, well, why the fuck are you in the Senate then, dude? Like, that's not what you're here to do. And I think having that, like that dual citizenship and dual loyalties, you're always going to be wondering like, hey, where are you getting your funding from? Probably foreign countries, right? So, and we know they are in America. It turns out like foreign countries can just fund our politicians.
Yeah.
So,
and you're like, here, I'll tell you what, why don't you explain yourself why you would make a statement like that? And I'm only going to take away one thing. You can't mention the Bible and you can't talk about religion. Why is it that important to you to be the biggest advocate for Israel? Go ahead. Run, like I'm taking away your fucking trump card, which is you could just always pull the Bible card. Now what? Like, now what do you got?
Or any other country in the entire world.
100%.
Why would you say that? If you're a sitting U.S. senator, if you said that about the United Kingdom, you said that about South Africa, I wouldn't care. I'd go, what the hell are you talking about? Well, then why are you in the Senate?
Agree.
Well, it makes you wonder too, what does that nation state have against the United States and actually other countries too? Did they have them by the ball so much that they can pretty much get away with anything?
Well, yeah. That's a big problem right now.
But what's going on? What's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about?
A lot. I had a former one of my former commanders. I'm not going to say the position that he had because it's so high up in the government. It's as high as it gets for the most part as a military personnel. But listening to him talk about what goes on in DC in like the nightclub scene and the after party scene with politicians was some of the craziest shit I've ever heard. Just like they're always getting put in positions to be compromised and that's in DC. So,
dude, there's no good looking people in DC either. What are they? Just a bunch of ugly, smashed sex, like just a pile of gross.
Yeah, but when you go to the strip club, right, and these U.S. politicians, take home some really nice looking Russian girl, and don't put two and two together that like. Well, now you are compromised, and now you're probably giving up information and all sorts of different things. That's happening all the time in DC.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw something that said that 6% of the most extreme users, right? So you're talking about like the guy that came out in the dress and everything else that was saying he was Antifa and they basically like kill ICE, right? That's basically what he's coming out saying. So his 6% of people like him account for 73% of the political content online.
Wait, I'm
So
sorry.
that-
Go run through that again one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I know what you meant, but
yeah, so 6% of the extreme users, only 6% of people are
on like
dictating
Twitter and stuff.
Yes, are dictating 73% of what people actually see online as far as
I believe
content goes
that.
for politics.
I believe
That
that
makes
for sure.
sense.
Probably on both sides.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like because the algorithms are driven by what people are drawn to, and just human nature. People are most drawn to things that make them upset. Like it's like, and
Yes.
so the more hyperbolic that you could present things, the more likely that people are going to get upset. In which case, you'll get more engagement. Algorithm's going to boost it. You're going to get paid more money, and thus it's just like a cycle that's inevitable.
What's the term the Gen Z content creators use? The ones that like just do shit to piss people off on purpose?
Troll or
No, not troll. It's somebody in chat will know. Hate something. I'm old. I'm trying to figure it out. What it is.
We must all be old because we don't know what it is.
Rage baiting. Sam
Rage
put it in the
baiting.
chat.
There
Yeah,
you go.
rage bait content. And there's a reason why rage bait content is so successful. And there's some streamers that do it exclusively.
Mhm.
To your point, Jesse, it's like that's what's going to get the clicks.
Yeah. It's crazy how like the success blueprint is different on these different platforms. Where like on YouTube, it's obviously like, the long form that people are going to sit down and kind of like consume. On Instagram, it's kind of, it's much shorter, but it's like still longer than just kind of like an insta hit. TikTok is probably somewhere around Instagram. And then X is like something that is going to just slap you in the face with anger. You know what I mean? Like it just immediately.
Yeah. What is it? 120 characters to piss you off or whatever it is. Yeah. That's why I don't have it. That's not.
I
Twitter,
spend
boys.
very little time on there. It's just not good for my brain. Like I'm not better or more equipped than anybody else to control. So that's like, I just go and I'm like, these motherfuckers. I just don't feel good when I'm on there.
Yeah.
Now, Nate, didn't you and JD delay, which I saw him in the chat too. Big shout out to JD. But didn't you? So you guys actually went into the crowds and interacted with people who you necessarily don't agree with, right?
Multiple protests.
Yeah. So when you go into those kind of situations, do you see that these people are reasonable, or is it by the time they get out to these protests, they're already so extreme in their beliefs?
Good question.
That you can't, yeah.
So it usually depends on the time you get out there, man. If it's before 10 p.m., you'll see that you'll just have like the majority of people out there, even like if you're calling them Antifa, and there is a shit ton of Antifa. Trust me, I've been to these protests in Portland. People say Antifa doesn't exist. Oh, yes, they do. But like before, 9 p.m., like it's usually not always, right? But it's usually pretty chill, pretty peaceful. People are out there just trying to, protest whatever they feel like. And then once it gets nighttime, and especially like outside the ICE facilities, especially when they start transporting people in and out, and it's nighttime and a lot of agitators show up, it gets insane. I mean, a couple times we were down there, like massive fights breaking out between like protesters, counter protesters. And so yeah, I would say there's people down there, and it's hard, like compared to like the No Kings protest we went to. That was at 1 p.m., right? There was 100,000 people out there, and like everybody for the most part was kind, nice. They're just out doing their own thing. And like, I don't agree why they're protesting, but I'm like, hey, you're out here, you're doing it peacefully. But dude, once nighttime, that's when the agitators come out, and like on both sides though, like be very clear. There's agitators on, but look at Jake Lang, perfect example of an agitator on the right. So there's agitators on both sides, and usually you can tell. You know what I mean? It's like you can usually tell when the agitators have shown up on the left or the right, and it stops becoming a protest and it just becomes chaos.
You meant No Kings was the one when everybody was super like kind?
Super chill, but it's 1 p.m. in Eugene, Oregon. You know what I mean? On a Saturday. So it's like
I actually did note though that in the effort to promote that event, like at least domestically, I saw such a focus from them on stay peaceful. It was kind of like immediately after Charlie. And I only have positive things to say about how they handled that. Like You know, it was a big fucking thing, and
This one was
they stayed
very
calm. They
peaceful,
like
but
collectively stayed very peaceful in that one.
the anti-ICE protests are not like that,
No,
especially now.
yeah.
Like they are like it gets violent down there. Like you better be ready to throw some hands if like you're counter protester. Like you don't know what's going to happen. And there's a lot. I mean, there's like thousands of people down there and helmets and tactical gear and all kinds of shit. They show up ready to, and I mean. Is that peacefully protesting? I don't know if you're showing up in like tac vests and battle helmets and shit like that on both sides. It doesn't seem like that's what you're really planning to show up for. But yeah, it's just a wide range, Matt, of like different protests I've been to. During the day, they seem to be pretty peaceful. And then nighttime, especially outside the ICE facilities, things get wild fast.
You ever see guys that are kind of like that are all tacked up and then they pull on people, or generally speaking, they get dressed like that and then hit people with sticks and shit?
Yeah, that's the interesting one is that like the vast majority of counter protesters are armed. Usually if they're down there like supporting the right or supporting ICE, and then usually Antifa is young college age kids that I don't think many of them are carrying necessarily, but like there are armed leftists and Antifa out there for sure. But again, like if you're showing up in, and so I guess some people like journalists, maybe it's a little bit different, right? Like if you're down there just trying to stay safe and you want to wear a bulletproof vest and a helmet, I get it. And the crazy ones, but like the people that are showing up there in like all black tac vests and like full covered faces and like everything. And like, as soon as they get down there, like that's when all the rioting starts. It's like, dude, that's when you lose me, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm a huge advocate for peacefully protesting, even with people I don't agree with, but as soon as it turns into like these riots, man, it's like, nah, not for me on both sides.
I went to the No Kings that was around here, and
where are you, Matt?
Nebraska.
That's probably much different than here.
Middle of the map. Well, I don't know. I mean, based on your experience, it sounds pretty different. You said they were peaceful, but I walked up there just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. A lot of people say I wasn't wearing like military, flags, and I didn't have all that stuff on.
Dude. We look what we look like.
Yeah. So I walk in, and the first thing I see is they have some armed security, and these guys are like you, Nate. They're like ex-Green Berets that are doing security, like a private security company, has an MP5, silence and all that kind of stuff, has all the gear. Medical dudes, there's like 6 or 7 of them, and I was like, that doesn't seem normal, but okay. And then, some police and that kind of stuff around. But as I walked in, they were basically like almost semi-frisking me in this huge open area out in public. And they're like, what can we help you with?
That's wild.
Yeah. And they're like, what can we help you with? And I was like, I'm just here to, peacefully protest and talk to people and whatever. And every single person I went through there, everyone was staring at me, and then they'd make a call to someone else. And then organizers came up to me, how can we help you, sir? And they were just all over me the whole time. And I recorded a video. I have some of it recorded, but after a while, I was just like, you know what? I think this is it was peaceful. There were no one fought, no one caused any issues. They went up and down the streets. They stayed out of the driveways and that kind of stuff. They didn't mess with anyone, but very strange. Very, very.
I would say like probably a big difference in Eugene, dude. There's no counter protesters. Like me and JD being down there, like we're dudes that have right leaning politics, but like almost nobody else is. And so it's like there's nobody down there counter agitating and protesting. So when we showed up, it was just like people could tell, there was a few times we got some bad looks, we got some scowls just based off of how we look, but not too bad. But then you juxtapose that to the ICE protest outside the ICE facility, way different environment for sure.
Well, you can tell the way they get in people's faces. But a peaceful protester doesn't get up in someone's face and blow a whistle in their face, or like the things they used to make noise and you wouldn't do that if you were peacefully protesting. So anytime you see these people on TV that are protesting like that, they're paid to do that stuff. They're doing it on purpose to be aggravating.
My question is, I hear that all the time, that all these protesters are paid protesters. I'm curious, like, how are they getting paid? By who are they getting paid? Can we prove that through receipts at all?
I'm not
saying they're not, because again, we talked about foreign involvement, Soros-based funding. Like, we know all these things are happening, but on mass scale, I don't believe in like Minneapolis where you just had 2 people killed. I think the people of that city are fucking pissed, and that's why they're out protesting in this specific case. I don't think that they're paying 100,000 protesters.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't think they're paying 100,000.
The logistics of that don't make sense to me either.
Yeah, I think it's the original organized protests.
They just have to pay enough of them because I agree with you. I think they're like
get it
that's a fertile ground to get people who are down to bang with the feds. But you pay enough of them, and you have their purpose is to incite specific behavior. Humans are incredibly manipulatable in that way, where like if they're in a group and people start doing this, they will
it's
start
called crowd
also
manipulation, man. Crowd manipulation is a key crowd manipulation. It's a key guerrilla warfare tactic we use to incite riots and protests in foreign countries.
Yeah.
And it only takes 2 or 3 people.
That's like when they were doing the thing in Iran. They're like, oh my God, we need to protect these protesters in Iran. I'm like, since when do we give a fuck about protesters, like civilian citizens in Iran? Like when they were, we all of a sudden care about trying to talk us into bombing. I'm like, come on, dude. But like again, the violence in the street thing. Like I remember Dan, when the No Kings thing was happening. Dan wanted me to go downtown Austin, heavy duty country. He's like, let's go down. You guys
talking about that?
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm in. And I just thought about it, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to go, dude. Like it's a bad idea for me to go, just because the best case scenario is I walk around, it's boring, and nothing happens. And the worst case scenario is I get put in a bad spot down there. And I started thinking about a judge or a prosecutor playing my fucking channel, in my court case, if I assaulted, or whatever, I can defend myself, assault someone. Just in any scenario, I'm at much higher risk to find myself in a situation where I catch a case, not just because of my behavior, but also because of like what I would represent to an Austin prosecutor.
You've got 100,000 hours of your opinion online, man.
Exactly. And they would love to make a fucking example of me, even though like I don't think my opinions are like extreme at all, but like I look like a scalp. If I put myself in their position, I'd be like, I'm gonna bury that fucking guy,
Yeah, again, so I do think there probably is paid agitators and protesters, but I haven't seen any proof we're seeing it on a large scale at these protests yet. When we're talking about like tens of thousands of people, I haven't seen us have any documentation that that's been proven on a large scale. But again, you don't need it. You don't need that to incite the violence, incite the riots. All you need is 10, 20 people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you can very, very easily. But I do think the idea that like, hey, all of these protests are just all paid protesters, I think that's intellectually dishonest as well. There's a lot of people who are upset. Yeah. A lot of people in this country that are upset that are just out there protesting.
There's a big difference between paid protesters and funded protests, right? So a lot of these protests, you'll see vehicles pull up, they have water, they have signs printed ready to hand out.
That definitely happens at all of them.
And I think that's what a lot of people mean when they say it's like paid protest, right? But when you're saying
I've seen that at all the ones I was at have had like huge, like outside of Portland. They've got like giant tents and coolers and food and beverages and like everything set up. So that is a thing for sure.
Yeah, it's like inorganic displays of cultural consensus, kind of. You know what I mean? Like it's like pay these people to go out there, and on TV it looks like you have all of these people who feel this way. In reality, a lot of them have been, incentivized differently. I do agree with you though, that I like Minnesota. I'm sure that there are, people who are there. Like this is probably their fucking A team up there of the people who small group of A team that can really like get people going. And, probably the guys who start that hotel shit where they hit them with a fucking brick and break out the windows, stuff like that. There's probably like a small group that does that. And then, there's a lot of people who want to get down. Like if they're people despise Trump. I mean, they hate him. Like they hate him so much. It's not like disagree with his policies. And I completely understand how people would dislike politicians and dislike the other side. But like, I have never seen a level of like hatred for any politician that rivals the Trump one. And I say that in so much as how people talk about people like online when Charlie Kirk got killed, like all that. Like, it's like normal for people to just be like, yep, I'm down with it. If they support Trump, I'm down with them being fucking dead. I'm like, Jesus, man, that's serious.
Yeah, but there's the opposite of that. Look around at all the people as soon as Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed. Those same people are posting memes and laughing about it. Like, yeah, fuck these idiots. And you're like, is that a good thing?
Man, I hate when they do that because I like feeling
it's bad
like
on
I'm
both
better
sides.
than them. Yeah, I like feeling like I'm better than that, dude. And
but I will say Trump by far, to your point, is the most hated president in American history. I don't think there's anything that like viscerally hated. Maybe not necessarily like per capita of the people, but like the people who hate him,
that's what I'm saying.
Him with a visceral passion. I don't hate Donald Trump. I'm very anti-Donald Trump. I think he's done a horrible job as a president based off of policy. I'm a policy guy, like I talked about. I said, I just look at Donald Trump's policies. Have you done what you said you were going to do? No, you haven't. So I don't support you. Me personally, I don't. Well, actually, with the pedophile stuff, that gets me closer. That gets me a lot closer to hating the guy, like a lot of people do. Yeah. But I would agree with you that like viscerally, he's the most hated president that's ever been in office.
I've never seen a president where people openly go online and are just like, yeah, I want him to die. They're like, so like someone should kill him. And like that, the Democrat candidate who's running on a campaign platform of, I will assassinate Donald Trump. And then when he explains it, he's like, what I mean by that is I'm going to prosecute him under the law and get him the death penalty. I will assassinate Donald Trump and I'm running for attorney general of whatever. And like, it's obviously kind of like a marketing ploy, but like the fact that someone would even think that would work or know that would actually work. Like you're like, yeah,
to get people on board to vote for you.
Exactly. That's what that shows more so than just that guy's a fucking psycho. It's that he knows that there is consensus enough that would put him in the conversation and not in a negative way among his side of voters. You know what I mean?
But I mean, like at the same time, some of it's warranted, man. Like with Trump, like he's a very lovable guy. If you're on his policy side, he's also a very hateable guy.
He does it on purpose.
I mean, he does a lot of things that are not presidential, that are not professional. And I'm not saying I need the most professional leader in the world. I don't. Some of the best leaders I've ever had in my life were like the worst fucking human beings on the planet. However, they did a great job at being leaders. And what you have with Trump, which I think is different from his first term was he's somebody that's like very dislikable and says and does a lot of shit that people hate. But policy-wise, it was hard to argue with the economy in 2016. It was hard to argue with the labor market in 2016. It was really hard to argue with gas prices, like all these things economically where people were like, well, I don't really like him, but things are going good, right? Like I'm making way more money than I used to be. Now you juxtapose that to 2026 and you have the same, I would argue, way more unlikable guy. I think he's gotten even worse in personality-wise on top of an America last agenda with a terrible economy and a terrible labor market. And it's like, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I would love for him to turn it around, guys. Like I keep telling people, I want to cheer for the U.S. president, whether it's Biden, whether it's Trump, whether it's Obama, because if the president's doing well, the country's doing well. So give me something to cheer you on for, man.
Dude, I'm always consistent, man. When people when it's like, turns out Joe Biden has cancer. The easiest way to get me to dismiss your fucking opinion for the rest of eternity is for you to say something like
negative about that.
Oh, whatever, dude. It's like the U.S. president has cancer and you're behaving like that. It's like that's one of those things that I just check a box next to him. I'm like, that's it, dude. Like you can't come back from that because that just demonstrates that our principles are not aligned at all.
But also, here's another big thing I'm seeing is like the lack of principles on both sides. And what I mean by that is like if we look at Alex Preddy. Look at the gun issue, the 2A community issue. Like the first thing that happened was Republicans immediately became the anti-2A party so that they could justify a law enforcement shooting.
Who are some of the big influencers?
Where are your actual principles and your values if as soon as a guy who isn't on your side gets killed for being armed, now all of a sudden you're like, F the Second Amendment. I'm so glad this happened. From the 2A community. And you're like, where's the values? But at the same time, with Democrats, let's say Don Lemon, for him, he goes in and let's juxtapose this. I do a video talking about Jake Lang being a fake Christian Jewish agitator who's down there trying to incite violence between Christians and Muslims.
100%.
People would be like, the same people who will be like, I love your take on this. When I also then say, hey, I denounce Don Lemon for bursting into a church and trying to invite violence between Christians and Muslims, will be like, no, that's our guy. And you're like, yeah, but see, here's the problem. Like the principles just broke down. My principles didn't change. I disavowed Jake Lang for doing it. I disavowed Don Lemon for doing it. But if you decide, hey, I'm going to change my principles based off of the political party of the guy who's in trouble, that's where it all breaks down for me. I think we're seeing that on both sides of the aisle right now. Where you know what I mean? Where it's like, Republicans are all of a sudden anti-2A and and you're just like, what's going on right now?
Yeah, and like Tim Pool and the quartering, I saw just arguing into the ground that that shoot's justified, and I'm like, how many fights have you guys been in? How many times have you guys had to subdue a person? Like what? Like, dude, and you guys, like, at least Tim, he's like, yeah, gun. He's like, you can't support that shoot if you carry a firearm. Period. You can't.
Yep.
You just can't do it. Like, agreed. I will carry a firearm down into an environment like that, even if I'm just going down to take my kids to dinner. And I can't live in a world where it's legal if I end up in even a misunderstanding or whatever with the cops and they can just fucking shoot me because I have my gun on my belt. You can't do it.
Well, and I want people to think about this. Think about COVID 3 years ago. If you were out, or something like this could, guys, keep in mind, wait for 2028 when Gavin Newsom becomes president and Democrats have complete control of the government, because you all laugh. I keep telling Republicans that's
it'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen.
I have been saying this
I don't want it to happen, but
I hate him, but I think
it's going to happen. I think that's like a 95% chance it's going to happen. If you don't think there's potentially going to be government authoritarianism that follows that, which there is right now, and you're out protesting something as a right-winger against the authoritarian left, and police roll up on you, disarm you in the street, and shoot you 12 times, and the Gavin Newsom controlled government immediately comes out and goes, well, shouldn't have had your gun on you. Too bad, idiot. What do you think the right is going to do in that situation? They're going to be, again, it's going to be like World War III. So why is it any different when it happens to a guy who's protesting on the left? It's not. We have to have fundamentals, especially with the Second and First Amendment. We have to be fundamentally in line that we're going to support the Constitution. And that's why in the military, we take an oath to the Constitution, not to the president or politicians, is that we need to stay right with our values in line with the Constitution. And I'm a constitutionalist, so I'm not going to budge left or right, depending on whether it's Don Lemon here or it's Jake Lang here. Sorry, no, I'm just going to go with my values on that.
So now, what's your thoughts?
And also, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, so really quick,
what time? 10 minutes?
Oh, sorry.
I got to bounce in about 5 minutes, guys, for the kids' basketball game.
All right. Did you, let's see. I can't tell whose supers are yours and whose are Jesse's.
I think mine have the dash with the little circles around them. Like Mark Brewer, I think would be the first one.
All right. Yeah. Let's see if we can pull up a couple of these before you leave.
Knock some of these out. Yeah. Before I got to go. VFT, Jesse, and Trigger, God bless you guys and your families. Keep speaking the truth. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh, that's Jesse.
Oh, Jamie, what's up, dude? I talked to Jamie on the regular, dude. She has excellent taste in films.
In films,
what's up, dude? In films, yeah, like actual like movies that you watch. That wasn't like some like veiled.
Oh, I thought you were calling her like she was an OnlyFans model that you.
No.
Okay, I read that wrong.
I mentioned this
to
movie on my stream, and I was like, it's the most fucking disturbing thing I've ever seen.
You definitely explained that a little bit for a pretty girl comment.
Yeah.
This is one of you two cool cats.
I think that's me. Just dropping to show support. Currently going through my ASF course. I'll rewatch this later. Ox Security Forces. Hell yeah, man. Slappy says none of these protests are funded. I live here and I know many of the people who are protesting. I agree with you. I don't think en masse. I don't see them paying hundreds of thousands of people. Personally,
mostly
but I do think
agitators. Yeah,
I do think that there is some level of funding that's going into it for sure.
Well, didn't they actually film? Like, I feel like
the individual protesters, I don't believe that tens of thousands of them are being paid for every one of these. Sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen the
data that backs that up yet.
I just feel like wasn't there a clip like I think it was more around the Renee Good time than the Alex Pretty time when someone was out in the street and they were asking protesters about it, and they were like, I don't know, they found
one woman said that she was like, I'm getting paid to be here, baby.
Yeah.
It could be. So there was a woman that said that, but I mean, who knows? I don't know. Are the protesters protecting Jeffrey Epstein? Well, the Trump administration would be defending the protesters if they were doing that. So that's for Jesse, I think.
Oh, they say Trump needs to turn down the temperature, the hypocrisy is insane. Like, the thing is, like, like what Trump did with, I talked about this earlier, what Trump did with Don Lemon, because if you think that Don Lemon got arrested and that did not come from Trump, that's not correct.
100% did.
Yeah. And I was saying like, everybody gets into these, like, they're all, Jesus, it's an assault on the First Amendment. It's a this, it's a that, it's a this. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's not that deep. The way this happened is Trump's like, that guy's a fucking asshole. He always talks shit. Go arrest him. Nothing's going to happen. He just did it to be like, to fuck with him. And I'm like, I think he's funny, but this is not a good idea. Like, it's not a good idea, even though it's kind of funny. It's not a good idea because the more you weaken the institutions, the less faith, people's faith in the institutions is actually the backbone of the entire strength of the country. So it's like, and we just keep on eroding it all these different ways where people stop having faith in the leaders, stop having faith in the organizations. And it's just that kind of thing's bad, even though I do think it's funny to fuck with Don Lemon, like as a general fucking term, like a general concept, but
my point earlier, and I probably didn't give it well with Don Lemon, is what he did with those people illegal? Yes,
I haven't even seen it
in my video. 100%. He broke the law. But I also said in my video today, we talked about it. Is this the best use of our federal resources to be going after Don Lemon? No, not while nobody in the Epstein list has been arrested. So, two things can be true at the same time. Yes, it was dumb what he did. Yes, it was illegal. Should we be wasting our time going after Don Lemon? Probably not. In my opinion, there's probably a lot better things for us to be doing with our time.
I heard someone really notable and powerful in a video today talking about how, like, he made some comment about the lack of prosecution. I think it might've been Elon. I'll find the clip. I'll send it to you. Cause it was like, Elon was talking about, it had to do with what came out today. I think it had to do with maybe Bill Gates or something. I don't know, but Elon has to have seen the list because he knew in advance. He made a lot of calls that ended up being accurate, afterwards.
All right, we got off topic, but look up Catboy Nick. Yeah, we all know about Catboy Nick Fuentes. His take on Ali Alexander when Ali's texts to under 18 boys were leaked. Nick is what he's always been. I don't know about that one, but I do know Nick came out and said Jeffrey Epstein's not a pedophile and raping 13-year-old girls is not pedophilia. So,
dude,
I mean, he decided to take that stance, and I think it's fucking gross. So I leave it at that. But I don't know. Are you guys supportive of that? Are you in the 13-year-old girls are good to go? The Nick Fuentes camp?
My fucking daughter's 13.
It's easy answer. No hesitations. You just
my fucking daughter's 13. It's definitely not fucking cool. I promise. They're babies, dude. They're fucking babies.
Yeah, fucking gross, dude. Gross. All right. I don't know. Is this? Oh, that's for Jess.
That's Nate.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying this, Nate. I'm a proud purist to a supporter. You're not going to tell me I can't have a gun just because I forgot my wallet. Yeah, it might be the law, right? And I should say, don't take my advice, but as a guy who literally does this for a living, I probably should give good advice on this, but I'm going to constitutionally carry my gun anywhere I want. I'm just going to do it.
This guy, I just looked up Ali Alexander. He looks like a guy who is sending text to a 15-year-old for sure. Just looks that fucking lines up.
Jesus, dude. And now he seems like he's being nice to you.
Ali Alexander?
Oh no, I thought Matt pulled up the next guy's comment. You said,
no.
Guy. You said Liz looks like a guy.
No,
Jesus, dude,
Ali Alexander, because he said the guy that Fuentes was the fan or whatever. So I Googled that guy. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the super chat, you creep. We're just kidding.
It's like, God, that was uncalled for, dude.
Yeah. Excellent, Bros. What's up, dude? Thank you so much. I'm flattered every time that you tell me that you're watching me from Belfast, dude. Every time.
Oh, Bobby. What's up, Bobby? All right. Bobby says the problem with America is the 24/7 right and left propaganda that is driven down our throats, dividing us. And this has been done by design. Having paid protesters doesn't help either. I'm with you on that, Bobby. I do believe that most of this, not all of it, but a lot of this is by design, because this is what the power establishment wants, man. They want not so much chaos that it completely collapses the system, but enough chaos to keep you distracted. So they've been doing it since ancient Rome, man. Bread and circuses. There's a reason why the UFC is going to be on the White House lawn this year, guys. It's the most ultimate bread and circus. Look over here. Have fun. Look at our fighters. Don't look at the Epstein files.
I'm so excited, dude. Distract me with fucking UFC at the White House all day, every day, dude.
It works on me too.
Yeah,
It works on
like,
us, Jess.
yeah.
It does. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It works on me too. It does. I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah.
Let's
Let me
go.
go watch the White House fights while, we get tricked and we get distracted.
Anybody that you see at that event is a person who you should assume could. Anyway, that's a very powerful person ticket right there.
Yeah.
I'm Pierce, but unfortunately for my
go
job,
ahead,
I have to have a permit. But I bet you have one.
Hey, yeah. For specific things, you definitely want to. Like when I'm carrying on campus, which is interesting for this. For those who don't know, like at a college campus, they can tell you, they can have a college rule. You're not allowed to have a gun on campus. But if you're at least in specific, make sure you check your state by states. Most states, though, like in Oregon, I can legally carry my gun on your campus, and there's nothing you can tell me to. However, if I have to use it in self-defense, I won't have to worry about anything legally, but the school can immediately kick me out of the school because they found out that I had a gun on campus. So there's a difference between, sort of civilian business regulations, like a business telling you can't have your gun, and the actual legal ability for you to have your gun.
I was literally just about to ask about that because, like in Texas,
but they can kick you out of their establishment if they find out you have it, right?
Okay, so that's what I was gonna say. Because like there's places in I don't decide whether I'm carrying based on like where I'm going, and like there are times like I go somewhere with my kids and it's like no firearms inside. And I'm like, well, this is just something that's going to happen. I'm not.
They can't tell you that unless it's a federal building, a post office, an airport, something very specific that the actual law says, like the federal law says. But you can't tell me I can't bring a gun onto campus or into a school. Of course I can. You can ask me to leave once you find out I have it, but you can't call the cops and have me arrested for that. If I refuse to leave, then I'm trespassing. Now I've broken the law.
Yeah.
But if I just have my gun on you and you ask me to leave, like there's nothing illegal about that. In most states, make sure you check your state. I don't want you guys to get in trouble if you live in California and there's some insane leftist law to that doesn't work there.
You get the death penalty. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that could be a possibility in California.
Yeah. What's who's Don? Is this yours, Matt?
Nope.
I think this one's mine. No one is getting paid to protest. That's bullshit. I wish you guys would understand that. If I was getting paid, I might be able to afford groceries. Well, again, I'll drive down there. I gotta take my mom's. Yeah, I gotta take my mom's car down there. Sorry, guys. Go ahead. All right, I gotta jump out of here about 5 minutes. My wife keeps getting after me. What's up, Penna? Penna says, Nate, I'd love to see you have Ryan Hoover of Fit to Fight on the show. Intensely pragmatic self-protection instructor. Interesting. Ryan Hoover. I don't recognize the name. Matt, do you know who that is? Ryan Hoover?
Dude,
I've never heard of him.
I was gonna ask both of you guys, Matt and Nate. My wife sent me this thing today. And it's this program that people bring their families to, and it's like husband, wife, children, and they're doing all of these different I don't know, they're like they train them to grapple, punch, fight, shoot, all this stuff, and it's all in this one area. She's like,
you're in Austin, so is it the Protectors Academy by Tim Kennedy?
No, I think I'll have.
He runs that exact course.
He
does.
Right
That's the Protectors Academy.
Oh, I thought it was
got a great
dog. No.
Yeah. Sheepdog Response, his course called the Protectors Academy, does all of that. Yeah, you should look up Tim. He's your buddy.
Gab, can you send me that post that you showed me earlier today with like the families that are getting trained in all the different combat scenes?
I do think what Jesse's talking about there is a great thing to do. You should get your entire family involved. Your wife should be able to shoot. Your kids should be able to shoot. Your wife and your kids should be able to defend themselves. Like my kids are in combatives, do whatever you want. But like, I would highly suggest, your kids can start shooting guns young, you know? So when did you
have yours shooting, Nate?
Like 8 for my daughter and 10 or so for our son. So pretty young.
My 13-year-old daughter, she shoots real well, but my other two, I don't think I've taken my other two to an indoor range. I actually think they're not allowed in yet because they're 10 and 9. I think they have to be maybe 10 actually. I think maybe now my 10-year-old can come for the last like 2 months, and I just haven't taken her yet. But
yeah, I actually start mine around 5. All of my kids so far, all 5 of them have started at 5 years old. And a lot of times we start with the laser, like the Mantis Titan X or something like that. Man. Yep. So they'll be using they can do manipulations and everything else, and they can aim and they can hit with a laser. And once they get comfortable with that, and they're old enough, like you said, Jesse, a lot of places it's 10, but they also have to take a course at that place, like firearms for kids or something similar.
Yeah.
But once they do that, all of my kids can outshoot most adults I know.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Oh, I bet, dude.
Yeah, I mean they're hitting steel at 50, 60 yards with a pistol. So
that's good, dude. That's good for them to
God
take like
damn,
a little
dude.
course too. Because like my daughter, she like one of the first couple times she went there, she obviously the gun was unloaded, but she took it off the desk and then was putting it into the box, like on the ground, and she did the thing that people who don't know what they're doing, and like the range official yelled at her, and she was all, and I'm like, don't worry, that happens to everybody once, and then you just never ever 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 do that ever again. Keep it pointing.
I got
down
a couple.
range
I could do a
always.
couple more, and then I gotta jet out, guys. Kids basketball game starts in 9 minutes. Luckily, I'm 2 minutes away from the high school, but I got like 2 more, and then I got a jet.
all right, this is one of you two. I'm not sure.
I think that's Jesse.
Right. Advice on concealed carry for moms of young children. I'd like to get my CCW permit, but I'm terrified of how to store it on my person with little hands, little people I want to protect most. I have not cracked that code for my own wife. So Nate, rock and roll.
Yeah. Okay. So look, there's a lot of different ways women like to conceal because they're not necessarily like wearing jeans and belts and all sorts of different stuff. You might be wearing yoga pants. There's a company, God, who they just won. Look up the company. I talked to them while I was there at SHOT Show at the Gundies Awards. There's a company that won best new product, I believe, for the Gundies. And it was like this women's satchel. It was like this badass concealed carry satchel that it has here. It allows them not have to, carry on their side or carry up underneath the armpit or different things like that. That's some different ideas you can take. But the biggest thing I can say for women, and I'm a huge advocate of women carrying, more so than I am a man. Like, and my point with that is, like, as a woman, you are immediately a soft target. And I know I'm not trying to be offensive to women, but you are. And what I mean by that is people that are looking to commit crimes against other human beings are looking for soft targets. Women, children, people who are weak, people who are distracted. You might be a badass bitch, and that's awesome. But you are more likely to be assaulted than a guy my size. It's just the reality of it. So the best thing you can do is time behind the trigger. I would highly suggest you sign up for courses with a firearms instructor like Matt or myself, and like do more than one. Actually, like, invest some time, take the courses. That's going to build you so much more confidence than you're going to build by yourself trying to go to the range and just learn to shoot on your own. So get out there, get some actual instruction with a good firearms instructor that you're going to have locally near you. And that'll build your confidence to where once you're confident carrying the weapon, you're not going to be worrying about the things that you're worried about. Your issue right now is you're not comfortable with the weapon. And so we need to get you there first. Matt, and you would be another person too that would be good advice for that.
This lady conceal is awesome, Nate.
Yeah. Well, so I'm not a big fan of off-body carry, like the satchels and that kind of stuff, but I know, like, my wife, she'll wear like a Vanish, like elastic type of holster around her body, and she'll carry a Bodyguard 2.0, which is a small gun. But I mean, women can hide that easily. She'll have it on sometimes and just look at me and say, "Where is it?" And I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend a gun like that. But as far as make sure you train like everything Nate said, but also after you're done with the course, keep training after that. Like, you're not done just because you did a course. If you do a concealed carry class, that doesn't mean you're done, right? That's the beginning of your training. So I would say at least once a month, depending on your weather and like what you have ability to do, at least once a month, go shoot at a range or something similar. You want to keep it fresh.
The other big one I can say for you, if you aren't comfortable yet with your weapon, have a big dog. Get yourself a German Shepherd, because when we're talking about soft targets, that's another immediate equalizer that nobody wants to fuck with. If you I see you walking with a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler, like that person who may want to take that opportunity to assault you will probably go, I'm going to wait for the next person. So that's another great one too. If you're not quite ready for that, I highly suggest a big, scary looking dog. So,
all right, everyone, I think Nate has to get out of here, but show him some love. Make sure you go to Valhalla VFT. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like on the way out. And Nate, we appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, sorry I got to jet out early, guys. We got the basketball game, but thank you guys so much for having me on. And we'll be back.
Later,
all right,
brother.
guys.
I'll hit you up later.
Yeah.
I'm looking at so the product, it's the Lady Conceal and I have no problem saying that there is a sling bag on here that looks identical to the one that I have, but like I don't like carrying in a bag either. I just couldn't figure out a way that I felt comfortable carrying it, where it was like, it's like, I'd put it in a pocket holster, but also I don't want to leave a chambered firearm in a bag that I'm going to put down either. And and getting to it, if I really need it, if it's on my belt, I'm going to get to it super easy. In the bag, like, I feel like it'd be fine if I have extra time to realize I'm going to need a gun for a gunfight. But if it's like I need it right then, it doesn't feel right to me, or it didn't.
Well, it makes it for people can grab the bag itself and use that to throw you around too. So it makes it something they can use against you. I know, and actually a lot of people have left their bag. They take their bag and still carrying, go somewhere, sit their bag down for a minute, like their friend's house or something, and walk out without it. It's not something you naturally think to grab.
Yeah. Yeah, so your wife's, the Bodyguard is that's the Smith & Wesson 380, right? The Bodyguard 2?
Yep.
And it's tiny, right?
It disappears like a grown man putting his hands. It looks like he's just pointing his finger or something. Yeah. But I can shoot it pretty accurately. It's a nice gun.
Dude, I have a CW, I have a car CW 380 that's about that size, and I shoot that thing pretty good, and it's got a fucking long ass trigger, which I don't love to shoot, but I do like in a carry because I'm less worried about it hitching on somebody, or it was hard to shoot at first, but I got used to it.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you carry every day? What's your setup?
So typically I do a P365X macro, and I have a flashlight and all that stuff on it. I have the dot. Because I can still carry it on my body. I'm 6 foot, about 250, and I can easily hide it. So I carry it year round.
That I should have brought. I have a P365 AXG Legion with a light, and then whatever, I don't know, the Holosun EC whatever carry optic on it. It's a little too much gun for what I normally am wearing, though. Like I don't carry it very often just because it's heavy. It's big. The carries fucking whatever 18 rounds, and so it's a lot heftier than it should be when you look at it. So I carry Glock 43X with a. I think I actually might. I don't know that Holosun optic. I have. Yeah,
like 407K probably.
Yeah, whichever. I don't know. Whichever one is like pretty fucking standard on a 43X. I like the day that I bought it. They're like, we have this one that fits on it. I'm like, I'll take that one. Yeah.
I went through 3 Glock 43Xs that all malfunctioned and had issues with extraction. So I will no longer carry a 43X. Yeah. It must have been a bad batch. It was from the same place.
Huh. I have Glock 19. It's certainly, I've never had an issue with it, but it's definitely snappier than, snappier than the AXG by a long shot. It's snappier than a lot of other. It's just like, it's like a nice middle ground where it's big enough to have an optic on it. It's small enough to carry, because I have a 43, but the 43 I can't put an optic on it. It's not really honestly that big of a deal, because like if I'm going to use it in a live situation, we're going to be 6 feet away. But
yeah,
I don't know. The more rounds too, because I have the metal magazine upgrade. So the 43 carries 10, and the 43X carries whatever increased capacity it is.
For anyone that's in the chat, if you guys can put in the chat really quick what you carry. I see some of you guys talking about your Glock 19Xs and 357s and stuff. Put down on there really quick. I'm interested to see, because I know a lot of people tend to go towards like the Glock and the M&P 2.0 and Shield and that kind of stuff. There's pretty standard ones, but once in a while you get someone like, I carry a full size Beretta 92X. Like, what?
When I was carrying in California, like I was talking about, I was carrying a fucking baby Desert Eagle 9mm that was, it's a full size metal. I still shoot that gun real well, but it was, it's heavy, but it was it's like disappears once you put it on your belt if you're wearing jeans. Like it's certainly not any heftier than like the 365 AXG Legion. What did you think when you saw that guy set up, the dude who got shot, like when they showed the picture of it?
It looked to me like he's probably pretty proficient, probably has done it for a long time, and probably has several guns.
That's a gun guy's gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
I didn't even recognize it because of the aftermarket lower. I was like, what the fuck is that thing?
When I think did it have a flashlight? I don't remember. I know it had an optic on it. But yeah, it doesn't. It looks like somebody like like us, like we're talking about the P365 with the flashlight and the optic. It's something from either someone who's LARPing, which there's a lot of people that do that, but it's someone who's very comfortable with their weapon, and it looked like it had some wear on it too. So he probably had a lot of practice with it.
He was. I think that his was a P320, but like it was a 320 AXG with an aftermarket lower, and I think it was it was definitely compensated. I'm not sure about ported, but the AXG comes ported anyway. I'm sorry, comes compensated. I don't have a lot of experience with like ported and compensated, like really high end pistols, because like I have a couple that have compensators on it, but when I've looked at reviews online, they say that the compensators on the ones that I have are not super impactful. Like I haven't shot one of these like I don't know 5-inch barrel. I don't know any of the big ones that are. I think I might get that new Kimber 2K, the one that PewView just reviewed and said it was amazing.
Yeah, for thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah,
it's like $2,500. It's cheap for like what it is apparently. But
I want to get that Alien. No, I think it was like $5,000. The one where people were like cocking it just by moving their wrist because it's so smooth.
Let me see. The Alien,
have you seen that?
It's a 2011.
I believe so. Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up.
I've built about 10 platypuses and I've never bought one. Like you build the platypus online and then the Lago. Oh yeah. He said this thing is ridiculous. Damn, dude, they're only 4 Gs. I thought these were way more expensive than this. Oh wait, there's some that are.
Yeah, like this guy here. These aliens.
Yeah. Wait, so that's not a 2011, right? It's like it's striker fire.
It's its own thing. It's completely like the barrel doesn't even move and stuff like that. Like it's really slick. But
is that the one where the barrel is actually lower on it than it looks?
Yes.
Like it? Okay.
Yep.
That's a sharp looking fucking gun though. What's your most souped up? Like what's your showpiece?
It would be a SP5, and they're about what $3K, something like that. But it's been modified up to about almost $10K.
Damn.
And it is so quiet with the suppressor that all you hear is the action click. You say, yeah.
I have a Springfield Kuna that I got at one of those super safe. Nice. I got one of those super safe safeties. Yeah. And I ran that at Heavy Duty Countries Ranch, and like it runs real good too. I have a suppressor coming for it. I have my live scan on Tuesday. I should have had that thing I should have had the suppressor probably 3 months ago if I would have gone. But like I've been sitting on getting the fucking like the live scan done for 6 months. Like I just keep forgetting to do it. I already paid for the suppressor 6 months ago.
Are you using the factory magazines, or did you switch it out to get the Scorpion mags?
The Scorpion mags.
Okay.
You had to like to do the super safety. I had to switch to Scorpion mags. Yeah.
And for
Jamie Seaver says Jesse 223-556 or wild. I mean 223-5 or 556, whatever. But what I don't know what you mean by wild. Like, do you know what she means?
No.
I mean 223-556 are the same as far as I'm concerned. I'm not like
except for the gun, right? Like some guns can handle both, and some guns will not be able to handle the pressure.
Yeah.
So is a 556 can handle both. A 223 cannot shoot a 556 safely.
Sometimes, right? Yeah. Or like I guess you'll know with the gun. Like I don't think I've ever had one that I knew only shot one. I have my current AR with like the most. It actually has a force reset trigger in it, but it's not running right. It's cycling too fast, so it doesn't really run. But I've got I've got all the stuff on that one, but. And then I just have like an M&P Sport, or whatever. But Kimber 45, Kimbers are very beautiful guns, and I've never had a problem with mine. Are you like what's your opinion of Kimber?
I'm not a huge Kimber fan. I've used a couple of them, and I have buddies that have them, and they spend a lot of money on it. But I've seen them rust. I've seen them have a lot of factory issues and things like that, so I don't really mess with them.
I have a what do you call it? An ultra carry. I have a Crimson Trace ultra carry. But I never I just don't shoot 1911 very often because I carry a striker fire, and that's just like I'm not gonna carry it because it's a different entire thing, and muscle memory is probably pretty important if you actually have to fucking use it,
I was talking to my producer over there.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. So the Springfield, there's a lot of good guns in here. You guys have XDSs, 3.3 pound trigger. That's for your everyday carry. You sneeze and that thing will go off.
Scary.
I wouldn't go anything less than 5 pounds usually for concealed carry.
Dude, who said XDS? I have an XDS, and I've always thought that thing feels like such a better made firearm than it gets credit for, because it's all metal and it's just smooth like that. It's a sexy ass gun. The only reason I never carried it was because it only carries 7 rounds. The one that I don't know if that's different now, but I bought it a long ass time ago. But it's a sexy ass gun.
A lot of 1911s. Any revolvers?
I have
revolvers.
I have the Taurus, like whatever the Smith & Wesson snub nose 38 is that everybody has. I have the Taurus. I have the Taurus one, the cheap version. That's the fuck is that thing called? I don't know. I thought when I bought it that I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna roll this thing, dude. I'm gonna roll the 6 shooter, and then I just never did. Really.
I have one of these guys, this 686 Pro.
That's awesome.
And it's so nice I don't want to shoot it.
Yeah.
I just let it be shiny.
Kelsey Dang says, I love you both. I apologize. This is a hella off topic. I have show recommendations for Jesse C, The Outsider, Yellow Jackets, and Mobland. Thank you very much for both the super chat and the recommendations. No one can do anything that I am more grateful for than when they recommend like a great movie or show. These are great recommendations. However, I've seen all 3 of them, and you have excellent taste, especially The Outsider, because people don't know about that show. The Outsider, Yellow Jackets, and Mobland. Mobland is on Paramount Plus, okay. Probably the best organized crime show that's come out since The Sopranos. And I realize that is an incredible, Breaking Bad. Like it is that good. Like Mobland is that good. I watched the entire season. It's like if the season was like 12 hours, I probably watched it in 16. Like my entire life shut down and I just watched the whole thing. I was like, I can't fucking believe how good this show is. The Outsider these are 3 different genres. Although I guess The Outsider and Yellow Jackets are a little bit similar, but like The Outsider is a sleeper people don't know about that is nuclear fire. That show is fucking awesome.
Another one is Fallout. If you haven't seen Fallout on Prime.
Fallout's great. I haven't started the 2nd season yet, but that show is excellent. I've been waiting for it to get all the way out. And Jamie Seaver says, The Fall of the House of Usher is amazing. Thanks again, Jesse. Fall of the House of Usher is my favorite Netflix series ever. And I recommend it to everybody. I always tell everybody. And if you love it, dude, if you like The Outsider, and that is like definitely one. Actually, anybody who watches Fall of the House of Usher and does not like that show, I'll be all like, what are you looking for then? But the only people that would not like it is if they're like, it's too dark, mysterious, and engrossing. I didn't like how engrossed I was with this story. What do you like? What are you watching now, Matt?
So Fallout is the last thing I've watched, and then the last episode is going to be next Wednesday. But the other thing was the 100. Have you ever seen that?
My wife loved that show. I couldn't get into it. It's like it's a little too dark. Like lighthearted for me. Oh, dark? Really? Does it get dark later?
It gets really dark.
Huh.
Yeah. The ending sucked. The last 2 episodes were pointless and kind of ruined the whole series. But it gets darker and darker and darker the longer you go.
I get really into shows where the story is heavily driven by the characters in the show, where like you get to know like really, really like the characters. If a show does not have that, I generally don't like it. That was like I didn't really give it a good chance, but the 100 felt like one of those network shows that they don't really do that. That's why I never sat down and like watched it. My wife loves that show.
Yeah, the character development is insane. Like
really?
If you watch season 1, then there's that plot twist at the end, and you start season 2. From then on, you're hooked. It's like, holy shit, what's going to happen next? But
you got to suck through. You got to just suck it up through the first entire season. That's what's hard for me. Is like there are so many shows that I knew, like where I started them, fell off. Started it, fell off. Started it, fell off, and then for some reason, one time I got through like the first 3-4 episodes, and then I got mega hooked and absolutely loved. Like Peaky Blinders, perfect example. I tried and failed on Peaky Blinders 4 or 5 times before I finally got through enough to where I got hooked. And then like that show's incredible. But
I started mid-season 4. I went to a friend's house and they were watching an episode in season 4.
You haven't seen season 1, 2, 3 of Peaky Blinders? Oh, fuck. I'm jealous, dude. Go watch those, dude. Yeah. Because by season 4, they're already wealthy. Like they're rich as fuck by season 4.
Yeah.
They like you get to see the whole come up from season 1. And it's one like that's actually a perfect example of the type of show where the reason I couldn't get into it at first is because I didn't know the characters well enough. So I didn't know that I didn't understand how big of a fucking savage Tommy was, because that's the whole show. It's like, so like at first, and there's so many characters, you're trying to get to know all of them, and you don't understand that like you're watching this show because Tommy is the most brilliant strategic fucking gangster ever. But yeah, that show's great, man. Great. You'll love it. I just saw a couple other ones. Hang on. So you missed the first one. I missed Kelstang. Thank you again. You missed the first one I said, which is C, starring Jason Momoa on Apple. And if you, dude, let me see what that looks like. I will look for that for sure. TJ Cavalier says, what's up, Jesse? Found you of Nate VFT. Had to subscribe to the guy that Nate said if they fought, despite you being shorter, would jail 6 That's high praise. High praise from Nate. But I just do a lot of jiu-jitsu is all. Scott Wee says, sorry to hammer it, but did you see the Ian show? I did not see Ian's show today. What was on there? And whoever said Black Mirror, fucking nuclear fire show. And now I'm gonna go look up C. I see that like another one came in. If you want to take that one, Matt.
Let's see. I have a big list of a ton of them. I think a lot of them were from when Nate was here as well, though.
Oh, go ahead, dude. Rip through them, dude. Go for it.
All right, let's do that. They're no good guys in the Civil War. It's just a political bloodbath, same as Civil War.
Yep. It's there's no, I mean, generally speaking, it's like when you get to the level of people who are making decisions at the Civil War level, power corrupts all of them. Eventually, it feels like.
It says I'm on all 3 live JOF phone, VFT, iPad. Oh.
That's awesome.
That's insane. Are they all on 2X? All right, let's see. Grand Bear, thanks for the super. Both the left and the right will be anti 1A or a 2A as needed to suit their agendas. Both suck. 100%.
I mean, I hope that, I mean, this is like, this kind of thing is a good thing to see, to find out, right? It's like, well, let's see. You know what I mean? Like, let's see where people stand on this, because it's they'll reveal themselves if they're down to say that you can't bring a gun to a protest. It's ridiculous. The right okay with masked feds is dumb as fuck. I don't think this is like, this one's a right left issue. I think it's I don't know. Like for me personally, I just kind of go, I have no idea what they're doing in terms of like with if they're doing law enforcement, if they're making law enforcement policy and they're doing something like that, I don't weigh in, only because I just assume that it's possible that they could have some kind of threat level that we don't know about, that people are, looking, because we know there's people tracking them. And it's like, if they have their face cover, or if they don't have a face cover, people are doxing them and then they're fucking attacking their families or whatever. Like if that's what they're doing, like I have no issue with them covering their face to protect themselves and their families. But, I don't know. Again, that's just the kind of thing I feel like I don't have enough information to weigh in on it personally.
Been hearing Pretty's SIG did an AD or it Indy and walked away with it, spooked the idiots, and they got shot, or they shot, no training. Yeah, so the P320 is well known, allegedly, to go off on its own in certain situations. And I think it was it Wyoming Project? It had that video that had like 1 million views on it, where he's showing the P320 going off just by like manipulating the slide, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If the slide's too loose or whatever is what it looked like in the video, at least.
Now, here's the thing that's interesting, as I did it with 17 more striker fired guns and made all of them do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All of them went off. I have that video on my YouTube channel, but so it's just Striker. It's just inherent to Striker fires, but that one is worse than the other ones.
Yeah. It's crazy
Allegedly.
how, especially like when they finally had the one that they were like, oh, look, it's documented now, and it killed this guy in the army. And then it turns out that some other guy fucking murdered him and then tried to pretend it was the 320. That's the kind of thing that I just feel bad for the company on that one, because it's like you can't take that hit right now. And who are you going to go after? Some guy who's going down for murder anyway. Like, it's not like, you can't wash that off of your brand at this point. You know what I mean? And they can't sell them. Like I'm good buddies with the guy who owns Range USA here. Like that Kimber, I told him to set it aside whenever he gets it, because he'll, I buy a fair number of guns from him. But like, and he was saying that with SIG, he had to reduce his orders because like they can't sell them anymore. And like they used to fly,
They don't even take them as trade-ins here. Like, you
really?
can't even get rid of them. If you have one, you can't get rid of it.
A 320 or any SIG?
P320 specifically.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's talking all SIGs since the thing. That like demand has gone down enough that he had to reduce his
inventory.
He had like a minimum order or something on his previous deal or whatever.
Interesting. That's you.
Oh, both sides are bad. They've seen both denial evidence. Wait, both sides are bad. They both seem to deny evidence. I mean, people have a very hard time with having opinions if they subconsciously think that it's going to lead to people whose opinion they care about being negative about them, And also, people are very easy to manipulate. If they don't like someone, you're not going to get a lot of sympathy out of them, and then they don't see things clearly. Dehumanization. Is this one you or me?
That's you.
Okay. Penexton, what's up, man? I've installed the furniture on Ellison's yacht, complete with armory and retired operators. I don't think people really understand what a filthy amount of wealth looks like. I can imagine. It's like with people like that, it's like, what would you do if there was no limit to what you could buy, who you could hire, how much, look at like the Bezos boats, or you look at any of that. So the boats is where you look and you're like, hang on, this is a boat. And they bought this and it just sits there all the time with staff. Like, just in case I want to use this fucking thing that costs $500 million or whatever, $1 billion. I'm pretty sure Bezos has a boat that's like, how much is his? Let me see.
Cost $1 million to fill them up with gas.
Is that right?
Somewhere like 500,000 to $1 million.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So his super yacht costs $500 million. Wait, I think there's one. Oh, maybe it was Zuckerberg that had one that was like, let me see.
Oh, I bet that has to be beefy.
His was 300. No, dude, there's one. I swear there's one that was bigger than all of these, but at least like Bezos, he's got a yacht and he also has a wife that for sure is bringing in other chicks and being like, hey, you're the richest guy in the world. Don't you want to threesome my friends? I bet my life on that being his life at this point. She's like, she is the number one social climbing female of all time, dude. She's married to an NFL or has a kid with an NFL player. Then they break up. She gets to the guy who owned EMI Entertainment. So he's worth whatever, 500 something, whatever, insanely wealthy. And then after that moves to Jeff Bezos, whoop. And now she's married to the fucking richest guy in the world. And she's got Mark Zuckerberg staring at her boobs at the fucking presidential inauguration, Jamie, what's up? Yeah, no other country should be able to fund the lobbying for government office in the U.S. 100% agree. No government officials should be able to accept money from other countries. It's almost absurd how obvious those rules should be. And honestly, the only reason we don't have them is because we allow lobbying from other countries. It's like that's one of those things that is it demonstrates the need for like why we need campaign reform and the exact same reason why we'll never get it,
When I think a lot of politicians go in with, they have good intentions. And then once the money starts flowing, they start getting those offers. Who knows where they're going to go after that? I think this.
I also think that, like before they get in there, they don't understand how it actually works. And it's like they campaign and they've got big eyes and they're going to go do whatever. And then they get there and they get settled in and they realize what people, like, because everybody on the outside, like I'll use Gavin Newsom as an example because I obviously have no love lost for that fucking guy. But I was talking about this after, he did that podcast episode with Ben Shapiro recently. And I watched a little bit of it. And I was talking to Gabrielle, and I'm like, I don't care if he came off like the most genuine, whatever. I'm like, he still did what he did in California, mandated our children were going to have to take, like, we left, but like they were going to have to take the COVID shot. They eradicated the medical exemptions on vaccines in California. That's why we had to move to Texas. But like our kids had documented like high risk of adverse reaction to vaccines. They already had mandated vaccines in the schools, but we had medical exemptions. That's the whole reason that they said that they needed to do the original mandates, is to protect kids that can't get vaccinated. So when they proposed the law to eradicate medical exemptions, I was like, what the fuck? The whole reason that you guys said you were doing this one is to protect my daughter who got injured by a fucking shot, whatever. And it's, it was just insane. Like I watched it, and that was the most impactful political moment of my life, was watching the debate on the kind of state, whatever, where they talk about the bills or whatever. And it was a line of Republican state senators who all were going up in between these gigantic groups of women who were mothers who had vaccine injured children. And they were going up and they would tell the story of exactly what happened to their family, exactly what happened to their thing. And then they were so dismissive. They were fucking disgusting. Like the Democrat Congress people, they were so dismissive. You're literally looking at a mom who's up there telling a story about her 2-year-old who was completely normal, got vaccinated, and then her story of the deterioration of their health immediately after and how they became nonverbal, all this stuff, horror stories, fucking, who knows how widespread it is, but at the end of the day, this definitely happened to her. It's documented. Like it's a documented thing. And they were so snide and gross. They acted like these women were like crack fiends off the street when they actually were going there, like, because they were the ones who had medical exemptions for their other children. And they laughed them out. And then every Republican congressperson who went in there, they were like, you can't do this. Like, you can't do this. You're making it law in the state that people who have been medically determined to be unsafe to vaccinate, you're going to make it the children. And they just dismissed them. And then they fucking passed it. And I was like, I'll never vote for Democrats ever. And I'm fucking leaving the state. We had no choice. I was never going to give the kids the shots. Once a doctor, we had to do all this genetic testing. Like, there's no question that is what our situation was. And they made it illegal for us to take the most safe option for our own children. Anyway, but so when I was talking to Gabrielle about Gavin Newsom, I was like, you know what the thing is though, in reality, is if Gavin Newsom would have tried to stand up and be like, I'm not doing this in California, all that would happen is they would get, as soon as they could, they'd get him out, they'd put someone else in. All he would do, he would affect nothing. Like, he would only delay whatever's going on. They'd get him out of there and they'd put their new person in. Like, they're figureheads that have agreed to play ball. That's what they actually are, and I think Andrew Cuomo most likely said no to firing the healthcare workers, and that's why they ousted him. Like, in the middle of, he's the fucking hero of COVID, and then for some reason they're like, oh, we got to get him out of there because he squeezed a fucking a secretary's hand too hard, or he brushed her booty, made him feel uncomfortable. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? As soon as he got ousted, the first thing that woman did is fired all of the healthcare workers that refused to take the shot. And I was like, that's probably why, But anyway, neither here nor there. Sorry, that was a long ass answer, but yeah.
I think this one's yours as well.
Oh, how does a soldier have to deal with so much red tape in regards to rules of engagement, escalation of force in a combat zone, but law enforcement with less training than I do gets away with murder? So that was certainly probably, I don't know, if you want to take this, I can.
I mean, it's definitely different rules of engagement. And then obviously with the LEOs, they're getting a lot of them, they don't get a lot of training, and they don't do a lot of ongoing training. So I know a lot of officers that I deal with and train with and that kind of thing. And for the most part, they go through their initial training. They get in the academy or wherever they're at. They go into their field. They get their field training, and then once they're out, it's up to them how often they shoot. I think maybe once a year they have to requalify. but it's just not a lot of training and stuff. So these guys are going out there, not all of them. Some of them are, seasoned military guys like Nate and that kind of stuff that are out there, but a lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
So it'd be just like handing you a gun and putting you out there, and then, whatever happens, happens. Your adrenaline pumps, you get scared.
No, go ahead. Sorry. I was just going to say, like, in terms of like the application of it in the field is, it's critical that they have the training, because honestly, even more than their ability to shoot a target is their ability to make good judgment, make a good call in a very dynamic situation that could turn scary really quick. And like one thing that I was talking about this with Nate, after the first, when we first had a longer conversation about the Preddy shooting. And one thing that I recognized is like, it was about why Nate is so hard on law enforcement as it relates to this kind of stuff. And I didn't get it. I didn't like fully understand until that conversation. And then I'm like, okay, now I understand. And this is basically how I would explain it. And is like, I've said, I would not be good for a role like that, because like if those fucking antagonists come up and all day they're blowing whistles in my face, or they're trying to bait me, like I'm not going to be able to focus, because literally all of my brain is going to be like, I'm going to fucking tear this person. I'm going to take their fucking jaw and I'm going to rip it off of their skull. And then I'm going to beat up whoever's around them, because I'm going to kill somebody like this. I can't take that. Like I will lose it. And I know that's a weakness. I'm not saying it's like it's a strength. That is not a strength at all. That is the opposite of a strength. Because if you're like, the whole point of like violent preparation, being good at shooting, being good at jujitsu, being good at striking, whatever it is, the ability to administer force is because it puts you in a position where you decide what happens. Like the reason why jujitsu is so important and why I suggest everybody does it is because if I get into an altercation in public, like absent them being I guess anybody who can punch really hard, if they punch me when I'm not looking and knock me out, that's one thing. Outside of that, if they do not have extensive grappling experience at an incredibly high level, then whatever happens, I determine what happens. Like they're not going to be able to get the better of me. If they're huge, whatever, but like they're just not going to be able to. So I can control what happens in that situation, and nothing that they do is going to impact that, because they don't have the ability to overcome my skill gap. And when it comes to like the legal, or like the administration of law enforcement force, especially deadly, Nate comes from war-torn, like war zones, where he's dealing with those kinds of people, except in there, like tons of people are armed. They're driving cars at them. They don't speak English. They're yelling at them, whatever. And there's way more opportunity to abuse or kill people that they engage with. And for like a high level experience combat fucking Green Beret, no one looks at you like you're a badass if you beat the shit out of some guy because they were yelling at you in the street in fucking Afghanistan. Like the way that you earn respect among that group is the ability to never lose your cool under any circumstances. The people that they interact with should be so beneath them in terms of being an adversary that they should be concerned about, that they are incapable of making their emotion go up, down, or otherwise. Stone-faced, robotic application of what they have decided are the rules of engagement is what he respects. So like making mistakes because you got 8 guys spazzing out and throwing people around, and then you pull the gun and then you shoot the guy in the back. Like people are like, oh, he's got Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, no, he is evaluating this against what the expectations of his elite tier 1 fucking unit was. And the guidelines are very different for how he views these things. That's why he's so hard on him, is because they don't look tough. They just look like untrained emotional spazzes that made a bad decision. Like that's why he looks at it like that, if that makes sense.
You know anything about this one?
The Israel Supreme Court has a capstone of a pyramid on it. The US dollar's pyramid is missing in the capstone. Coincidence? Fuck, I don't. I know that elites love symbols though, dude. Like, I don't think you're crazy for looking at that. That's for sure. But I don't know anything about that at all. Check out Black Mirror, Men Against Fire. I believe this is happening to Americans at home division by design. Wait, well, Black Mirror. I mean, I've seen Men Against Fire, Black Mirror. Let me see which episode that is because I've seen all of them and I love that fucking show, dude. I thought you were saying like because you said Men Against Fire. I thought you were calling like us like the Men Against Fire or whatever. Hang on. So that is. Oh, I am not a huge fan of that episode as a whole in terms of the viewing experience, but the kind of what the metaphor is like dead on, fucking dead on. Do you watch Black Mirror, Matt? You're muted or something.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm looking at the episode right now. Looks like something about brainwashing.
It's the one where the soldiers they are going out into the community and they're like finding these like I don't know, they're like mongrel people, and then they whack them out because these people are like whatever, they're attacking villages, whatever. Spoiler, guys, plug your ears. And it turns out that what's actually going on is they're just regular people, and they have this digital thing that gets implanted, and they brainwash them and make them see these regular people as like these like deformed fucking whatever, so that they have no emotions about just like euthanizing it's like they're doing like a genocide. And so they like brainwash these soldiers into believing that that's what they are. And anyway, that's what it is. But I don't remember. Oh, I believe this is happening. Yes, I agree. McStorch, thank you for the super chat, dude. What are y'all? I don't know anything about it.
I don't either.
I'm like detached from politics. Matt, do you pay close attention to like the straight up like politics stuff? I feel like what I cover is like culture.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, politics put me to sleep.
Me too. Realistically, could Epstein files bring World War III? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that the people who are going to be in those files are all from the West. And, I mean, listen, dude, like the reason that this shit doesn't surprise me in any capacity is because I genuinely believe that there is a cabal or an internal cult of satanic fucking elites that hold these positions of power all over the place. That I really believe this. Like, I'm not saying it like a crazy person. I'm basing this on like things that I can show people. Like, did you remember this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy? Now proven in after death that like this guy was, they're completely real. Like Michael Aquino and his global satanic like religion is absolutely
That's crazy.
It's 100% real. And those guys that were members of his group there's like 5 or 6 of them that were knighted in the United Kingdom all at the same time with all kinds of insane stuff that came out after their deaths. They were all in league with Jimmy Savile. If you know who that fucking guy is, he's probably the worst human being to ever live ever. But he, again, looks like these people who, for some reason, even though they're the worst, they're doing the worst things to the worst like victims, and they just somehow skirt through life and get everything they want. Almost like they made a deal with an entity that can provide that for you in exchange for fucking, being an evil, horrifying person.
Well, one of the guys that wrote a book with him, with Aquino, he works on the board for TPUSA.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
But
that book, like if you read it's more like a paper than a book. And if you read it, it's not that's not satanic or anything. It is literally just like systematic brainwashing tactics to apply to a whatever, a group, whether it's a country
intelligence,
or
intelligence work.
Yeah. If we have civil war, I blame the lamestream media. Thank you all three for having discussions. If they don't want to have, it's not what they talk about, it's what they avoid. We should be concerned with. I agree with basically all of this, except, I mean, aside from the fact that just like the mainstream media is an apparatus that's not like a thing, it's a tool that the people who want to destroy the country or destroy countries in general, it's a tool that they use. And the spokes of that wheel are just people who have accepted money in exchange for closing their eyes and just saying what they ask them to say. It's like when people, I don't know if they've ever asked you about this, Matt, but like the idea of taking money for any reason where I would have to agree to have this like a certain opinion on anything, like I would never do it. I mean, maybe, fuck, I don't know. They're like for like $25 million. And it's something that it's not like completely antithesis of my principles, but like, I just couldn't do what they do because I wouldn't be able to, like, it would feel like acid in my mouth saying anything that I don't actually think. You know what I mean?
I think it'd tear you apart over time, especially if it has a big negative effect on society.
And I will tell you right now, I'll confess, I don't think TPUSA, I think that we had this thing wrong, or I think I definitely had this thing wrong from the beginning. I think that they are absolutely not the bad guys at all in this thing. And I think that once I figured it out and I can clock the whole thing, I'm like, and I make a lot of money every time I talk shit about them. So, you know, we'll see how I try to manage that, because like, there is some kind of apparatus that is incentivizing people to torch TPUSA on YouTube for sure. There's absolutely no question. My RPM goes up by a factor of at least 2. My views go up by a factor of at least 2. And I can't imagine that is by coincidence. You know what I mean?
I've seen similar. Yeah.
You can always spread trash that Obama wasn't born in the US. I mean, he did get caught cooking his fucking birth certificate though. Like, you know, like the birth certificate, if you downloaded it from the website, I voted for Obama twice, by the way. But like when they downloaded it from the website, they got whoever did it had left the edit layers in the file. Like, so instead of it being like a PDF, they had accidentally put a Photoshop file of it. I don't know. I saw a YouTube video on it and the guy showed himself do it. I didn't verify it personally, but that's, you know, who knows? I don't know. But okay, so and Trump's holiday is this my guy. Trump's holiday gift to the nation is the administration's new policy that it is legal to enter churches as people worship and round them up in the immigration raids happening from east to coast. Wait, the new policy that it's legal to enter churches, and I thought he just arrested Don Lemon for that. No, isn't that like the exact thing Don Lemon got arrested for? Or no?
Looks like it. That was the FACE Act, I believe.
Oh, John 404 says, Jesse, I have the original PDF and did the exact same thing to show the layers. So, oh, really? So it's real. Okay. Yeah.
Esoterica, thanks for the super.
Do you know what's absolutely hilarious? Is like, you would think that at the government level where they're trying to cover up things, like when they're like, listen, we're going to post the entire footage, the security footage of the Epstein thing, and there's no edits whatsoever. Like, and then you post it, and so everyone goes and investigates it because he said there's no edits, and there's edits. It's like, and then the Obama one, there's like, we're going to put this whole birth certificate thing to bed. Here it is on the website. Download it for yourself. And you download it. It's like, why do you guys have multiple edit layers? Like what is wrong with them? Like, are there, you know, like you give them credit for not like you think of the government as competent, and that is a incorrect assumption in many cases, you know?
I'm asking let's see. I'm asking
if
anyone else.
This is yours, right?
Let's see. This one, I think this was Nate.
I can't tell.
Yeah, this kind of collaboration on a podcast is great. Thanks for all the work you each do. That keeps the rest of us in the loop.
Thank you, dude. Yeah. Poll protesters paid. This one, I think, poll or not, is there for sure are people being paid to protest, but I agree that I think the vast majority of people who are out are there because they're there because they want to be, and it's like a genuine passion. You know what I mean? There's always D. Jillian. What's up, dude? Where the fuck have you been? You talk shit to me for 4 years. As soon as we become friends, you never show up again. Jesus. MAGA remorseful and MAGA remorseful and the rest of us to unite. This is the thing, dude. And Christmas lights, I would love to meet you in Texas, assuming that you mean like you want to meet me because we're friends and not you're like, oh, I'm going to find you, dude. But like,
yeah, I see that too.
Yeah. This is like one thing that I think is super important for people to just keep in mind, and not like currently, but just generally speaking, is that usually an administration that has been in office for a certain amount of time has the majority of people pissed off no matter what. Like I can't, like, at least since I've been old enough to pay attention, people always end up mad at the administration just because we are looking for people, like things that they've done wrong, whatever. Obviously some things are worse than others, but like, I just think going into, next elections, just because people who are running are not the people that were pissing you off, like, a couple months ago, like you just have to, I just try to go into every election and be super clear headed about who I'm voting for and why. And I have no regrets about the way I voted, not because I don't have any problems with like the way that Trump's, and the administration served in the job, but I just think that there's a lot of really massive things in play. And like, I don't trust the other side of that equation at all, like zero. But I explained to you guys why I have no trust for them either. What else we got?
Make sure you guys hit that like. And if you're not already following Jesse on Fire, make sure you go over there and check him out. Same with Valhalla VFT.
And my guys, go follow TriggerSmart.
Let's see. I think, did we cover this one earlier? Nope, this is different. Are all protesters paid? No, they find a few leaders, hand them a sack of cash, stand back and watch the money work. Not real complicated. Most folks in Minnesota are just angry that they have a goon squad walking the streets.
Yeah, I agree with this take very much so. That's probably all accurate.
That's you.
There are paid protesters and care stations on both sides. Yep. Republicans have them too. To complain about that is BS. That's the thing is like, okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. Like one of the things that I spend a lot of time harping on is social media posts from people who are like being really nasty about, I don't know, people that I see them as, they've like dehumanized them. People who are like, we should start stabbing ICE with these needles, or like, oh, someone should fucking whatever, all that. I hate that. But I am also extraordinarily aware that a good percentage of those are probably fake. Like after Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, right? And then that is like overwhelming across the internet. Like, and that really worked on me. That one, celebrating Charlie Kirk getting murdered, that really worked on me. But also, I understand the game that's at play here. And obviously everyone's playing the same game. And it's so easy to run that play if you're the Republicans, right? Like it's so easy. The idea that like the right doesn't do the same thing, because the left does that shit all the time. And the idea that like there's no conservatives that are like, okay, in this one, we're going to have this liberal person celebrate Charlie being dead and say something nasty about his fucking kids. It's like, of course they're doing that because that's the game that's being played. It's all hearts and minds. And the ends are the only thing that fucking matters to the people who play that game. You know what I mean? Hi, baby. Come here. Come here. Oh. Yeah, I took everything out of my pockets. Come sit, Gabrielle.
What you doing?
You guys say hi to Gabrielle. I'm on with TriggerSmart. Matt, this is
Hey, how's it
Gabrielle.
going?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Where were you, dude?
Driving children all over the world. That's what mom life is. Pretty
Dude.
much.
She puts on miles on the car, dude.
Yeah.
What else we got? We're answering super chats because they get piled up. We were on with Nate for a long time too. Who would even be the sides in a civil war, or does everyone mean all of us against the government? Well, if it's all of us against the government's going to, I mean, like that is the end for sure. But that is an excellent question. Who would the sides be in a civil war? It's like primarily the dumb fucks that get tricked into fighting each other, and then some like very powerful power brokers, and then everyone else who is on different factions. Like, I'm not shooting Americans, dude. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't care what happens. I'm not fucking killing Americans unless they
come after you, right? Unless they come after your family. That's
Exactly.
when it changes. Yeah.
Only way you take one of my bullets is if you try to hurt this one or any of the kids downstairs. That's it. I'm not going to shoot any Americans. And I will.
I have to go do this now.
Oh God, Gabrielle, I was just making a really good point.
Sorry,
Get
go ahead.
fine, go. No,
I
get
got
out of here.
things
No,
to
go
do.
ahead. It's fine.
Bye.
It's fine. It's good. No, but it's like I certainly would. I would go hot to defend other Americans who are being victimized by bad actors. But like, yeah, I don't care if they're Democrats or whatever. I'm not shooting an American for any other reason than because they're an aggressor ever. You know.
I think it would be the extremists on both sides. That's how it would start.
Yeah. Cameron, if you're in North Carolina, don't bring a firearm to a protest. It is against state law, but the same scenario in Minnesota is not against the law. Is that right? In North Carolina, you're not allowed to bring a firearm to a protest. That's interesting. Again, like states have sovereignty. That's kind of like, I don't know. You can't be I don't know. You can't have my politics and then like throw stones at states that have their own laws. Cause I think that, that's kind of the good thing about distributing what kind of legislation and rules you want to do across the country and not having a powerful federal government. So like, if you don't like it, you just fucking move. But I'm curious how they define that. You know what I mean? It's like, who decides that it was at a protest or versus just like a parade or something? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know what's what? It's like bad legal language. Is this one me or you?
It's you.
Of course, because it's a pretty lady, dude. I have the prettiest lady. The population of pretty ladies is very, very flattering. Ashley Herber says, our police chief stated that the department is ready and prepared to protect the community against ICE at all costs. That sounds like civil war. That's exactly what that sounds like to me. That's civil war talk. Like, because now you're talking guns against guns, federal government armed, state or city government armed. And if you do this, we'll shoot you. Oh, if you do this, we'll shoot you. That is what real civil war looks like right there. So like, yeah, I think like the question earlier about who would be the sides, that is a very real scenario right there where, it seems like the kind of thing that you would be very apprehensive to do if you were in leadership in a law enforcement agency at the state level, because you can't think that you have nothing but people who are on the same side as the governor or whatever. Like, you have to know that there are voters inside of your ranks who agree with the other side. And you're like, all right, yeah, hey, just stand right behind me with the firearms. And I'll just assume that everybody's, going the same direction. Like, I'd be shitting my pants. I'd be like, well, first of all, I would be like, fuck you. How about that? I'm not shooting any fucking feds. But like, if, do you understand what I mean? It's like, you have to know that your team, if you're all armed, are going in the same direction. You can't have any like in the back of your head, like, well, I know that fucking guy, like we're friends. I know that guy voted for the fucking other party. I don't love the fact that he's right behind me with a shotgun. You know what I mean?
Well, there's always defectors and there's always traitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you watch any show, that's always going to happen. So
yeah,
technically never safe.
That's Nate talked to me about that specifically when there was the guy who the shooting in DC where the two National Guardsmen got shot and one of them died, or they might have both died. And they said that the guy who committed the crime was an Afghan, like he's a military contra, whatever. He had worked for the CIA for a long time. So the group that he was in, and people were like, oh, this is perfect example of how we don't vet people enough on the way in. And this guy got his citizenship. And now look at what happened. And Nate was like, dude, I worked with those guys. He's like, that unit is the most highly vetted group in the entire Afghani military. And he's like, and he was talking about how it's, I don't know about often, but there are plenty of times it's happened where they are working with an Afghani, like partner force. And in the middle of fucking whatever, one of the Afghanis they thought was on their team just starts shooting fucking Americans. And he said that had never once in the entirety of the Afghan conflict happened with someone from that unit. Never, not once.
Interesting. I mean, they get radicalized pretty easily. And we know certain things like Bengay Ultra, there's certain substances and mind control things that happen, but that's a different episode.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Wait, go back to that last one. What did that last one say? Like, I think we missed one. The last one was,
Freedom Cherry.
Yeah, there we go. So we need to be real. Our rights have been encroached on since the start of taxes. Look up the history of taxes. Patriot Act was a gift from President Bush, and he was a Republican. Wait, it was a gift from President Bush. So that listen, dude, the Patriot Act is the beginning of why, if like you just need to assume that the government's listening to you 100% of the time, because they are. But that's just what it is. So this is the second person who brought up the Ian Carroll ones. That must have been really good. Any of you 3C Ian Carroll Twitch Free Speech Friday? Just my opinion, but he nailed it before it nailed it. Watch it before it's taken down. Okay, I will 100% do that. And I'll text him that you guys keep telling me about it, and so that he knows what a positive fucking response there has been to his show. Did you guys
heard
know
about
that
it on
Ian?
X too.
Did you guys know Ian 6'9"? Did you guys know that Ian Carroll's fucking 6? Yeah.
No fucking way. That's crazy.
Let me see. Chris Robinson. Any advice on not being paranoid to open carry? I live in Texas. Honestly, this comes from open carrying as a black man.
Never open carry. You never want people to know you have it.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
You should never open carry because you're giving away your a level of protection that you have that they don't know about. So why would you go around having it out? And you've seen several videos, and I've actually seen this happen in person, where someone runs up beside them or behind them and pulls it, their gun out. I mean, so why would you have it exposed like that?
I think
it's a bad idea.
Very reason. Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, the only reason that open carrying would provide any advantage is if a potential threat saw that you were carrying and they chose another victim. But like that is a minuscule potential, not even like a really strong argument against. They don't know you're armed. They don't see you coming. They're not going to like prioritize you, and they find out you're armed when you put a hot one in their noodle or their center mass. You know, like and also I just don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. I'd rather, like, I know I have it, but like open carry, you know, even if there's a bunch of people who all are like, oh, an armed society is a polite society, there's also a bunch of weirdos who have never held a gun. And I don't want to make them feel like I'm some psycho that's going to shoot them. Like, there's no reason they need to know from my perspective. I'm surprised that no one wears a firearm fashionably, like in a concealed carry holster, and then they intentionally have it out as if they didn't mean to. I've always wondered why people don't do that, because it's like, it's legal. And so it's kind of like, oh shit, my bad, dog. Oh, is that? Oh, sorry about that. You know, like tuck it behind it to where it looks like stylish. Like, I'm shocked. All it would take is like one rapper in Texas doing it, and then everyone would start doing it.
So this is the last two that I have time for. Then I got to run.
Cool.
So we have hi Gabby, trifecta.
Now baby says, oh, I got to screenshot that.
Yeah.
Keep that up for a second. Trifecta works. Trifecta is Gabrielle's nootropic, and it is the fucking bomb, dude. Been up, baby. Thank you so much. And Gabrielle will be very excited to hear that.
And William, thanks for the super chat. My family had twin brothers, one on each side of the last Civil War. This is how bad it gets. Ideals go out the window. Blood changes history. So you had two brothers fighting each other in the Civil War.
The family, yeah. Twin brothers.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's like, how does that happen? Like, twin brothers that live in the same house, they end up on both sides. Like, I don't even understand how that would happen. That's a horrifying story, though.
I have siblings that are significantly different than me politically.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Same house, same parents, everything.
Me too. Yeah, like like significantly different, and we just don't talk about politics at all.
The great divider.
Yeah. So Andrew says it's definitely not left versus right. The people versus the ruling elites is the right way to think of it. That's why these protests are so polarizing. Let me see if I can like see any more, because I'll try to answer them, because I know once you go off there, they'll disappear for me. I'm pretty sure. But I can go live and answer as many as I can. Right, so, and then I can't get as many. And why do you all carry guns? Oh, there's like, okay, so there's like some random ones I didn't see here. Let's see. Oh, you didn't do these in order. There's like some that we got, some that we didn't.
That's how they come in StreamYard.
Oh, really? For me, they come in like listen, I don't envy your job. I've tried this a bunch of times, and I'm glad that this was verified, because like I did it with I've done it with JD and Nate, and their audience is incredibly engaged and incredibly generous. And like, it doesn't take very long to where I look and I'm like, oh my God, I'm an hour behind on the super chats. We've only been on for an hour and 20 minutes. It's like, I'm serious. And then I'm stressing out because we're like texting each other underneath. And it's like, hey, don't get behind on super chats. I'm like, I'm already fucking an hour behind. Like, because there's no way, like, it's just really, it's hard. And it's hard to like, jump in every time. But
well, everyone, make sure you hit the like. The like is what makes YouTube know that we're doing a good job or that you appreciated watching this episode. And make sure you follow Jesse on Fire if you haven't already. Jesse on Fire and Real Jesse on Fire, depending on which social media he's on. And if you're interested in following me, yeah, for sure. And thanks for coming on. I know this was very last minute. This was very, very last minute. And Jesse came on with a Valhalla, and it was awesome. So if you want to follow me, there's my stuff there. TriggerSmart HQ. And we'll definitely have to do this again. Have a little bit more time to prepare something, but this was fun.
Yeah,
appreciate
awesome,
you coming on.
Thank you so much. And guys, I'm gonna go check in with my lady, and then if we are not in the middle of something, I'll pop back on and try to answer more of these super chats that I screenshotted.
All right, awesome. Yeah, make sure you guys go over there, and if you want to continue on, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, later, guys.